Sorry, hi person. I'm in the middle of just sending a message to, like, and quickly. And hi, Drifty. Sorry. Just wasn't expecting people to come by this quickly. So, good morning, everyone. Generic Fool's Test here. I'm going to be covering more Fat Electrician. Specifically, I'm covering in this video Liquid Death, what I was drinking yesterday and why I was drinking a dead billionaire, the world's largest unregulated bank, which is Starbucks, Chick-fil-A, and why it's doing so well despite getting canceled every other day, and the most gangster beverage company on earth, Arizona Tea, which I've actually never seen that video before. Oh wait, I forgot to put up Twitch on my phone so I can see if I missed any messages that you guys send. Sorry about that. Alright. Either way, I hope the two of you are doing well. Alright. So, without further ado, I'll get started.
Case studies, and I'm just going to go over.
Well, actually, I'm going to raise the volume a little bit because yesterday's stream was really loud. And also, I guess I'll raise my regular volume a little bit too. Alright, sorry about that. Professionalism! Oh boy! Oh, yes, it's important to turn on screen share so that people can see what I'm looking at. Also, why is this so small now? I'm sorry, just going to... I guess this is like that, so that way I can fit there. Either way, yes, enough technical difficulties. Also, because you probably haven't seen it, this is his steel shirt, which, you see, the Fat Electrician has come up with an acronym for that the military often for things the military often does, or at least the American military does, which is referred to as STEAL, which is to strategically transfer equipment to an alternate location. So, stealing, yes. But either way, time to cover that beverage I drank last night and talked about.
Over my favorite and least favorite businesses and why they're awesome or why they suck. Today we're talking about Liquid Death. It is the most savage company on the internet, and it has the best marketing team on the planet. Now that's a pretty big statement by me, so how do I know they have the best marketing team on the planet? Well, the company is only 4 years old. It was started in 2019, and today they are worth $700 million, which is really impressive for any company, but it's unbelievably, incredibly impressive when I tell you that all this company sells is water in a can and merch promoting their water in a can. I'm going to say that again, but slower. They take water, shit that's basically free, stick it in a can, and then sell it for like $3.50 a can, and now...
I'm sorry, but I didn't know they were that big. Jesus. Oh my
they're worth
God.
$700 million. All right, before we go any further, I do have to say this. I am not affiliated or associated with Liquid Death in any way, shape, or form, even though I tried to be. I tried to get them to sponsor this video and sponsor my whole channel if I could, but they didn't get back to me, so I am not affiliated with them at all. So the rest you can take at face value. I am, however, affiliated with today's sponsor, Zydex, custom gaming PCs built right here in America with American-made tech support. They have pre-built models ready to go, or they can build...
The problem with American-made is American-made products can be really, really good, or they can be really, really shit. And in worst cases, they can basically be, you know, products made overseas that were just transferred over to America and then the parts were put together. So that's not unique to America. They do that overseas too. Whenever there's an embargo on China or, certain other countries, they will build the parts and then they will transfer them to a neighboring country and then, just literally construct it there, and then they get to put like made in Thailand or made in something like that. And that's how they get around embargoes. Well, yes, I think England came up with the premise of stealing for steel. Technically, if you think about it, you could blame every problem of the modern world on the British. Like, why is it the Middle East is such a problem? Well, you see, some British guys were like, hey, we don't have enough people to properly run our territories, so let's forcefully move a bunch of people who hate each other so that they have to live next to each other, and then encourage them hating each other. They'll be too busy fighting each other to be rebelling against us. But then the British continue to steal and treat these people like lower class citizens, or the British Empire treats them like crap. And basically, they're like, you know what? I hate you, but I hate the British more now. And then after the British leave, oil is discovered, and they both fight even harder to see who controls the oil. And if you're willing to go that far, you could even say that, technically, all of America's issues that we cause are caused by Britain too. Yes, deflection, because technically we were a British colony. And we learned our conquering ways from watching you, Dad. Ah, yes. Though to be fair, it's mostly the aristocracy's problem. The common British person did not really get much of the benefits of, being a part of the British Empire. All that you did get the benefit of is if you walked by a dock, you might have been forcefully put into service as on a naval vessel. Or did they not teach you about that? How they used to abduct random citizens in ports to put on ships. Oh, so just the fun parts and not like the consequences of that stuff. But yeah, I should probably, focus on the thing this video is called. But yes.
Any custom computer you want, to pretty much any spec you want, go check them out. I'll have a link and a discount code down below.
I doubt it's...
So here's what happened. The guy that founded the company, Mike Cesario, was at a Vans Warped Tour concert, and he realized that all the people that were performing on stage were drinking Monster energy drinks all day, every day, which clearly is humanly impossible. So he got closer, investigated, and he realized that they weren't actually monsters. They were Monster tour water, basically Monster cans that Monster put water inside of so that athletes and band members and people that were performing could drink water and not drink Monster and die while they were doing whatever they're doing. To which Mike, the founder of Liquid Death, is like, wow, that's kind of fucked up and misleading. What if I did the same exact thing, except I just sold it as water and made water cool like Monster and beer and energy drinks are cool? So that's what he set out to do. Okay, step number one, get it a cool name. Liquid Death, the coolest name possible. It's absolutely perfect. Why would you call water Liquid Death? Because that's exactly what it is, okay? I've been saying this for years. Any body of water that's too big to fit in my cup is too much. Now, this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but swimming is dumb and the ocean is absolutely terrifying. Now, is that because I was a fat kid growing up and I didn't like taking my shirt off in front of girls? Perhaps, but also maybe I'm onto something, because think about it, 10 billion, mammalian, fafillion years ago, fish were floating around in the ocean and they're like, man.
Ah, the fafillion, a rarely used measurement of units.
This kind of fucking sucks. We should evolve us some legs so we can leave. And then they did that and they left. What's that? You're not convinced? Don't worry, I can keep going. Let's have a look at the license plate of the worst state in the country, Minnesota, the home of 10,000 lakes. Coincidence? I think not. Now, if you've never been to the state of Minnesota, let me break it down for you. It's like they took the state of California and said, how can we get rid of all the redeeming qualities of California, which is like the weather. They got rid of the weather. It's just cold California. That's all that state is. Now, is that because of all the large bodies of water around the state? Probably not. But you know what is?
All of that is our lakes and bodies of water. All the blue.
All of the bugs. Do you have any idea how many fucking mosquitoes you have when you have 10,000 lakes? They are the biggest mosquitoes I've seen in my entire life. I'm fairly confident it's their state bird. Okay, look, I'm just guessing, but your football team would probably be
Yeah, might want to be careful if you ever visit there.
a lot better if they could practice without being attacked by blood-sucking hummingbirds all the time. Okay, look, if you're from Minnesota, don't take it personal. I'm just kidding. I love you guys. I'm from Iowa. I'm contractually obligated to make fun of you.
So, contractual contract for Iowan citizens, Minnesota mockery. Ah, yes. This agreement is entered into by the Fat Electrician, hereinafter referred to as the Iowan Jest Master, and a friendly Minnesotan, hereinafter referred to as the Minnesota Mocking Buddy, collectively referred to as the Banter Buddies. 1. Preamble. Whereas the Iowan Jest Master possesses an irrepressible urge to engage in the light-hearted teasing and gentle mockery of the citizens of the great state of Minnesota, where with particular attention to their beloved sports team. Now, therefore, in consideration of the mutual love for good-natured banter, the Banter Buddies agrees as follows. 2. Minnesota mockery obligations. A. The Iowan Jest Master shall at least once a week make a clever quip or humorous remark about the alleged Minnesota nice and its suspicious sincerity. B. The Minnesota Mockingbird or Mocking Buddy shall respond with an appropriate retort about the Iowan Jest Master's obsession with the concern of the corn or their particular accent. Lake Laughter Clause. The Banter Buddies shall agree. I don't know if I should do this. Just a bunch of silly things. I don't think I can keep that up, and this went on too long. Sorry about that.
I'm probably just jealous that you guys have a pro football team and I don't, but to be fair, we do have the same number of Super Bowl wins. The point I'm trying to get to is that liquid death is the absolute perfect name for water. Everybody's freaking out about Panera's lemonade killing like 2 or 3 people over the course of 5 years. Meanwhile,
oh, Jesus, you saw that, right? Like, Panera Bread's charged lemonade blamed for a second death. Ah, America. 390 milligrams of caffeine. It's almost 12 straight cans of caffeine. Of Coke. Technically, it's 11 and a half, but still, that's ridiculous. Well, at least it's not Prime.
2 or 3 people over the course of 5 years. Meanwhile, water's...
Hey, it's if you're an American and you drink it, it's the freedom of choice, person. I don't know about you commie UK people on your weird little island on your little pond or whatever you guys called it, but we're in America, damn it. If I want to drink a drink that will turn my tea into like non-existent mush, then I have the God-given right to do that. So don't you dare question American freedom. I'm sorry to everyone involved for that terrible thing I just said.
out here sinking the entire Titanic and nobody bats an eye. So now they've got the perfect name, now they need the perfect tagline and the perfect mission statement. The tagline is going to end up being murder your thirst, which is fantastic. And then their mission statement is death to plastic, basically justifying why they have their water in a can because, you know, plastic bottles are bad for the environment and save the turtles and all that bullshit. So they've got the perfect product, now they just have to launch a viral ad campaign, and to do that they're going to model off of energy drinks and alcohol, which is perfect because those are the two things that are so well marketed that people will actually go out and spend their money to buy merchandise. Which is basically, they've marketed the product so well that not only are people going to buy that product, but people are going to buy additional products like shirts, hoodies, jackets, hats, whatever, so that they can buy that and wear it, turn themselves into a walking piece of advertisement to let the rest of the world know, hey, I associate with this product and I'm cool too.
How do you do, fellow kids?
So that's the plan. How are they going to accomplish it? Step one, they're going to make a commercial. And that commercial is going to begin with a woman declaring herself as a paid actress.
I'm a professional actor, and I'm getting paid to tell you about a revolutionary new product.
Liquid death.
She then proceeds to explain why water is metal as fuck.
Water is deadly. It kills innocent surfers and snowboarders and kayakers. Every year, water is responsible for thousands and thousands of deaths. Energy drinks only kill, like, what, 1 or 2 kids?
And then it pans out to reveal that she's been waterboarding some dude with liquid death the entire time. It's the perfect commercial for this product. Now,
American
the money's going to start
advertising.
rolling in. Okay, here's the plan. We're going to take
At
that
its
money,
finest.
and then we're going to launch our new initiative. Remember, our mission statement is death to plastic. We don't like plastic bottles. So what are we going to do? We're going to use all our profits to pay for postage for our fans and other people to mail empty plastic bottles back to Coca-Cola and Pepsi to troll the rest of the industry. Okay, not only are they going to break into the food and beverage industry in like 2020, they're going to talk shit while they do it. Do you understand how unprecedented that is?
It is not. It is their actual advertisement. To be fair, there's a lot worse advertisements out there, but I don't know if I want to cover those. So, person, have you heard about the Wonder Boner? Well, we're not covering it today. We'll do it in another video. And actually, just 1 second. I'm just going to check something quickly. I'm not giving context. All right. No problem. All right. So Anne will be joining us, should be joining us soon. And that's enough for another video I'll do, which is funny old commercials. God. I will also quote another advertisement. Fuck you, Baltimore! That's a really old commercial, I think, from my home state of Maryland. I think it was like from before I was born, but it's just so, yeah. Yeah, it's great. It's absolutely great.
Do you understand how hard it is to break into the beverage industry? It's virtually impossible because Coca-Cola's got that shit on lock because they started off way back in the day on easy mode when it was legal to put cocaine inside of your soda.
Ah, yes, that is why it's called Coca-Cola. Well, technically they used the coca leaf, which is, you know, the ingredient that is used to make cocaine. And technically, one of the reasons why Adderall is a controlled substance is because it is a chemical cousin of cocaine. So that's why people snort it. Don't snort Adderall.
Obviously, they've got a cult following, okay? Just for the record, if you don't know, cocaine is bad for you. Does it smell great? Absolutely. For legal reasons, that was a joke. Moving on. Seriously, it's like me versus my grandparents at buying a house in our 20s. Back in the day, they paid like
And funnily enough, cocaine actually has medical uses. Did you know that? It's actually helps stop nasal bleeding. I mean, it also has Adderall-like effects. But, you know, primarily these days they use it to help reduce nasal bleeding, which the reason why, you know, people who are addicted to it tend to have nosebleeds is because, you see, people act like the human body changes in only positive ways. The human body is lazy as fuck. If you provide your body with a source of something which it normally produces on its own, to when you start taking enough of that thing, your body will go, oh, I no longer need to do this. So it will stop. So when you're addicted to cocaine, your body's like, oh, this thing which stops nasal bleeding is, I take it enough times to where I no longer need to try stopping it on my own. We just need to take more cocaine. We don't need to produce this thing on my own. Please don't take that out of context. You know, that would have been a great time for Anne to come in and me saying like, hey, just take more cocaine. Generic fool's test does not approve the use of cocaine in non-medical means, or the use of Adderall in non-medical means. Please don't take my Adderall, I need it to work. But anyways, yeah.
$5 and half a bag of Skittles for a 5-bedroom house, and now that house is worth like $3 million. Do you understand how hard it is to overcome that much of a head start? I mean, look at Pepsi. When they first came out, they couldn't get any market penetration against Coca-Cola because it was motherfucking Coca-Cola. They literally had to go out and buy the entire chain of Taco Bell and KFC just so they could get restaurants to have Pepsi products so that they could get people to try their shit. The point I'm trying to get to is it's virtually impossible to break into the beverage industry, and these guys did it for virtually no money at all, and it's absolutely incredible. So everything's going good. They're selling cans of water. They're selling every kind of merch you can imagine. Shirts, hats, water bottles, fucking snare drums, LED signs, anything under the
and
sun
records
they're
too.
selling because their branding is that powerful. Then they take it to the next level and they start selling flavored sparkling water, which is absolutely genius because nobody's ever made flavored sparkling water cool. I mean, let's face it, most men would never...
I don't tend to drink much soda, or I try not to. I guess I'll pick Coke because I usually go to places that serve Coke, but I don't actually really drink it. I don't drink much cola, period.
Ever in a million years.
That's right, person! I'm a basic bitch! Well, their chemical formula is actually very, very similar, to the point of where there's barely a difference in either recipe. I know that because years ago somebody actually got the Coca-Cola formula and, you know, gave it to Pepsi, but Pepsi was like, yeah, no. You're basically, you know, taking branding. Which colors on the bottle look better to you? Because the taste differences are just so minor.
Consider drinking sparkling water in front of their friends, okay? You're gonna show up to your buddy's garage with a 6-pack of Perrier or LaCroix? Absolutely.
Ah, LaCroix. Tastes terrible. Looks pretentious.
Not. Okay,
Person, get the hell out of... Okay, I'm just not... Okay. Person was just like, oh, I buy more Pepsi. It's just like, get out. Yeah, no, just kidding. I don't care what soft drink you choose. They're all killing us. And both of them can be used to clean... Well, both of them are highly acidic and can be used to clean a toilet. Very well. As well as strip the paint from your car. Ha ha ha. Yes, those last two were not jokes. They're both really good at both of those things.
look, I'm a grown-ass man. I love all my friends. I could call up any one of them at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday, and they'll help me bury a body in a cornfield with no questions asked. But if I start drinking fucking Perrier in front of them, the shit-talking is going to continue for the rest of forever.
We? No, we are not French. We're American, because you're in America, okay? Greatest country on the planet.
But now that's not the case because I can show up with an 8-pack of tall boys that look like energy drinks or Four Locos and it's called Liquid Death. Nobody's gonna bat an eye. Buh! Are you really willing to overpay on water in a can just to maintain your fragile masculinity? Buh! You're fucking A-right I am. In fact, I'm gonna go buy a lift kit for my truck as soon as I get done filming this YouTube video so I can jack it 10 feet in the air and never take it off-road ever again. All jokes aside though, this product is actually genuinely cool because if you're an adult going to a party, you can bring this if you don't want to drink alcohol and nobody's gonna bat an eye and you don't have to have that awkward here's why I'm not drinking conversation. And for somebody like me who drinks energy drinks and beer and my kid wants to be like dad, I can give him a can of something that's not bad for him and he can drink that too and he gets to feel cool. And they're actually starting to target kids specifically. I mean, here's their new mascot, Murder Mountain. He's got a can for a head, eyes for nipples, he's wielding a giant axe and he cuts people's heads off, and they're gonna make it a new Fortnite skin, which I'm sure they're spending millions of dollars to do. But for the first time ever, I feel pretty okay with the company targeting kids in their advertising because it's genuinely good for them. It's not Monster with their 54 grams of sugar per can.
Oh my.
It's not fucking cigarettes trying to make candy.
Hey, my eyes are down here. You're encouraged to look there. Is it awkward to keep eye contact?
Flavored cigarettes. It's not vape so my kid can blow a cumulonimbus cloud out of one of his nostrils that smells like fucking Fruit Loops. It's just water. They're making drinking water cool again. And the coolest part about this is if you try to stop Liquid Death in their mission from making drinking water cool, they will absolutely roast you. Got a couple of different examples, starting off with my personal favorite. They recently came out with a new line of tea, and one of the tea flavors was obviously the classic half tea, half lemonade, known as the Arnold Palmer. They wanted to stay on brand. They also wanted to give the nod to the heritage of the drink, so they named it Armless Palmer, which I thought was a perfect nickname. Now, apparently, whoever owns the trademark for the beverage of Arnold Palmer didn't find that funny at all, and they decided to send them a cease and desist letter telling them they had to rename.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, you know, you're enjoying the video, so that's great.
In that drink or quit selling it altogether. At which point, Liquid Death, realizing they didn't have the money to go toe-to-toe with these enormous beverage companies, said, you know what, fine, we'll go ahead and rename it, to which they did. It's now named Dead Billionaire.
Liquid Death, if you liked our Armless Palmer tea lemonade, then you're going to love our new Dead Billionaire tea lemonade. Why? Because it's the exact same thing. Only now it has a way cooler name that won't require us to fight a senseless legal battle with a large enterprise who sent us a letter saying we can't use the word Palmer, and who are also partnered with a giant iced tea corporation, both of whom have far more money to burn on legal fees than we do. Our new Dead Billionaire cans have started to trickle out on Amazon and will begin hitting retail shelves in the spring. Experts are predicting potential brawls in retailers as customers fight over remaining Armless Palmer cans before they become extinct forever. Recalling or collecting them for, well, I can't read that last one. But yeah.
Okay, now personally, I think that's hilarious.
Which one, the Armless Palmer or the Dead Billionaire?
I believe in talk shit, get hit. However, a bunch of people on the internet got really mad about that. Now, here's the thing with that.
I figured. But, yes, this is advertising! Kicks the...
Those people on the internet that got mad at that were people that would never ever drink Liquid Death in a million years anyways, so ultimately it doesn't really matter. And now all the people that do drink Liquid Death, every time somebody asks what it is, they get to tell that really funny story. While we're talking about people being angry, let's go over what they do with the angry comments that they receive. They have an in-house metal band and turn the comments into song titles. I'm gonna go ahead and read you some of those right now. Quote, "It's dumb, I won't buy it. Fuck whoever started this. Worst name for a water company. Huge tools. You deserve your mouth pissed in. This is very demonic. Murder myself. Go fuck yourself. Good try, Satan. blood everywhere? I thought this was alcohol. So in conclusion, that is the story of how a company that decided to put water in a can went from $0 to $700 million in the span of 4
great.
years. And if you care about the business aspect, I think the biggest takeaway from Liquid Death is that they managed to take a product, something that was completely neutral to absolutely everybody. Water. There was no good water, there was no bad water, and they made it controversial. They made people feel something about their particular brand of water. Whether that was love or hate was person to person, but they felt something, and you can monetize something, but you can't monetize nothing. I mean, think about it. If somebody hates Liquid Death, it means that they're watching and they don't like what Liquid Death is doing, but regardless, Liquid Death still gets to monetize their viewership. And then, if somebody loves it, it's also because they're watching, and not only do they get to monetize their viewership, they get to sell them the product on top of that. Bearing that in mind, thank you for watching. If you hate what I'm doing, go ahead and keep watching so you can keep hating it, and if you like what I'm doing, best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over at thefatelectrician.com. Clack, bang, out.
Oh, yeah.
Not gonna lie, pretty proud of myself. When I said energy drinks and alcohol had the best marketing tactics ever, I almost brought up Got Milk and the government cheesecake conspiracy again, but I managed not to this time.
Ah, yes. I will be covering those two in a different video. But yeah. So, now time for the one which is the primary interest. The world's biggest unregulated bank, which is Starbucks.
When I started this video, I kind of just wanted to know how they made so much money selling overpriced coffee. I was not expecting them to secretly be an unregulated bank that was powerful enough to manipulate the real estate industry, but here we are. Today we're talking about Starbucks, the coffee shop that also manages $1.7 billion worth of other people's money, doesn't have to pay interest to them, and faces no banking regulation while they do it.
Delete me.
You look nice.
I thought we were gonna do Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Why aren't you dressed up?
I forgot.
The no deleted scenes for you.
Wait, what does that mean? Wait, what does that mean? This video is brought to you by Delete Me. Super straightforward business. You give them money, they make sure the data brokers aren't selling your personal information on the internet. So if you don't know, pretty much any time that you use social media or any other free thing on the internet, that company's probably making money by harvesting your personal information, selling that to data brokers, and then data brokers sell it to whoever. Next
Thanks for the follow, Narf Champ 9.
you know, you're getting weird emails and robocalls, but luckily these data brokers have to delete your information if you fill out the appropriate request, and Delete Me will do that automatically for you, and then they will keep scanning all the data brokers and filling out requests as needed to make sure that your private information is not being sold on the internet. So if you want to go check them out, I'm going to have them linked in the description down below, and then they're also always linked over on my website, thefatelectrician.com. Let's get back to this video. All right, from the top, 1971, three friends open up a coffee store. Not a coffee shop, a coffee store. They're not brewing coffee in-house and letting people leave with drinks. They don't have an atmosphere where people can come in and feel welcomed and drink coffee. No, they have a store that sells coffee beans, coffee, and then coffee-making equipment like espresso machines, coffee bean grinders, and coffee pots. And while that sounds like a recipe for failure today, it was actually a huge hit at the time because at this point in time in America, the 1970s, there was no good coffee. There was just like the shit you can get in a can at a grocery store, go home and make yourself. It wasn't good coffee. Americans didn't have a coffee culture per se. It was literally just people drinking coffee to get caffeine, not because they liked
some people would refer to as the Dark Ages.
coffee. So when the Starbucks guys came out and they started selling actual fresh roasted whole bean coffee, and then you could buy all the equipment to make it yourself at home, it was pretty popular. Then one day, because Starbucks was selling so many coffee pots and espresso machines and coffee bean grinders, the local salesman...
Oh yeah, he's great. Have you seen this video, Nerf Chap? Like, this is the world's biggest unregulated bank, which is Starbucks. Ah. Well, I hope I don't ruin it with my occasional commentary. I need to make some comments during each video, or else I'm basically just stealing his content, which I don't want to do. So, yes. And also, thank you for following. 1 second. Just gonna follow you right back. All right.
And in charge started to take notice of like, hey, this one little tiny coffee store is selling more coffee making equipment than all the major department stores in the area combined. I need to go figure out what's going on here. And that guy's name was Howard Schultz, the future owner, CEO, and kind of the mastermind behind the entire thing, because he shows up, sees what the Starbucks guys are doing, he falls in love with it. He thinks it's a brilliant idea, and he basically has to beg them to be involved. So they kind of reluctantly let him on board. He becomes the business manager of sorts, and over the course of the next decade, they end up opening 3 more of these coffee stores inside the city of Seattle. Then in the mid-1980s, Howard Schultz ends up going to Italy on vacation, and he goes into an actual Italian coffee shop, which is something like he's never experienced before, because they don't have coffee shops like that in America at this point in time. He walks in the door, you can smell freshly ground coffee, there's baristas doing all their fancy kung fu moves, making lattes and shit, there's an entire culture, there's people, you know, reading newspapers, talking, and it hits him, this is literally just a bar, but you get to go to this one before work instead of going after work, right? Because all a bar is selling atmosphere. You can buy all the alcohol way cheaper at the grocery store, but then you have to drink it at home by yourself, so you're willing to pay.
I live in Maryland. You can't just buy alcohol at a grocery store here.
5 times as much to go have that same beer at a bar to enjoy the atmosphere and other people's company, and that's exactly what this coffee shop is doing, but they're doing it with coffee. And Howard realizes he's already the wholesaler for really good coffee, so if he opens up his own coffee shop, it would be like Anheuser-Busch opening up their own bar. He's no longer getting the product at wholesale price, he's getting the product at manufacturing price. He's gonna make a killing. So he goes back home, tries to sell this idea to the other Starbucks guys. They're not having it. This isn't broke. We're not gonna fix it. Just keep doing what we're doing. So Howard Schultz is like, fine, I'm gonna step away from Starbucks. I'm gonna go open up my own coffee shop and do my own thing. This happened in 1985. By 1987, the original 3 Starbucks owners are having some financial troubles with the company. They just want to sell it and move on to a different business venture together. So they offer it up first to their friend Howard, who's been busy running his own coffee shop for the past couple of years. They want $3.8 million for the company of Starbucks, and they're going to give him 60 days to get it, where he doesn't have to compete with a bunch of other buyers. So Howard Schultz now has a 60-day grace period to come up with $3.8 million in the 1980s, so that's way more money than it is today, and he sounds like a crazy person, right? He's going into banks being like, hey, I've got this business idea, I'm going to open up a coffee shop. Think of it as like a bar, but instead of selling beer at night, I'm going to sell coffee in the morning, and people are going to come and pay $4 for a cup of coffee. Here's the kicker, we're not going to sell coffee in sizes like small, medium, and large, like literally everything else on the planet. We're just going to come up with some made-up Dr. Seuss words like tall, grande, venti, trenta, whatever other random fucking bullshit words I want to make up, and it's going to be a huge hit. You should definitely give me millions and millions of dollars.
No, you're dead, Carl. You say no to life, and therefore you're not living. You don't have a girlfriend. You don't have anything close to a girlfriend. Am I right, Carl?
So to everybody's surprise, the bank isn't really
Did you
interested
need
in
to go
that.
that
So he
hard?
starts going to venture capitalists, and finally he gets referred to a venture capitalist by the name of Bill Gates Sr., aka Bill Gates' dad, that agrees to give him the money so that he can buy Starbucks. Now, is that super relevant to the story? No, not really. But I know that by bringing him up, there's now going to be 1,000 conspiracy theories in the comments down below, and I wanted to read them, so you could probably check those out too. Anyways. Now, with Howard Schultz in charge of the company, to everybody's surprise, it starts doing great, and he starts opening up more and more Starbucks all over the country. And just to be clear, Starbucks was not the first coffee shop in North America, but it was the first, like, mainstream chain of coffee shops that was a lot of people's introduction to coffee shops in America, and for that reason, they kind of got credit for a lot of different things. Pretty much anything new that came out in the coffee industry, Starbucks would adopt it, and they would kind of get credit for it. Like, they didn't invent the Frappuccino. That was invented by Coffee Connection out of Boston, Massachusetts in 1992, but everybody associates a Frappuccino with Starbucks, which obviously was just the next evolution of coffee in America, right? Because it's a very niche community that enjoys a nice strong cup of coffee, or a cappuccino, or an Americano, or a latte, you know, your traditional coffee drinks. So if they wanted to make more money and expand bigger, they needed to appeal to a wider audience. And how do you appeal to a wider audience, particularly an American one? You add fucking 72 grams of sugar and some whipped topping and drizzle some caramel and hot chocolate on top. Fucking bam. Energy milkshake, okay? I know that's gonna...
Yep, the American way. By making it taste as little like real coffee as possible.
upset a lot of people, but if your drink has over 250 calories and it's got whipped topping, it's not coffee, okay? That is a milkshake with caffeine in it.
Wait, is this just milk and sugar?
That's what I said.
Do you drink this every day?
Every morning.
So now they're no longer just targeting coffee snobs, they're targeting kids, teenagers, and most importantly, middle-aged, middle-class housewives that have enough expendable income to afford $12 energy drink milkshakes every single day. So now they're literally just swimming in money, right? The Frappuccino is like a giant iceberg, Starbucks is the Titanic. As soon as those two things collided, there's just money everywhere. So now that they're making a ton of money, their business model is just rapid expansion, okay? Starbucks, you gotta keep this in mind, is not a franchise. All the Starbucks are owned by Starbucks. You can't buy your own Starbucks and be a franchisee. They're all the same company. So these guys are literally just trying to expand everywhere because in the early 1990s, the coffee craze is starting to hit all over the country and they want to be the first coffee place that most people end up trying so they can get those loyal customers and they get all the business. And whether you like Starbucks or not, you got to admit they did a pretty good job at being literally fucking everywhere all the time because Starbucks is like the only business I've ever been in where I can be inside of a Starbucks, look out the window and see another Starbucks off in the distance. And this goes...
Have you ever experienced that person? There are some parts of New York, there's like a Starbucks on every street, or at least there was at one, or on every corner, because traffic in New York can be horrible. So, you know, why would you go? People left. But yeah, you can basically, in some parts there's like a Starbucks in every corner because, you know, crossing the street in New York can be very dangerous. Why would you want to cross the street? It would take too long and it's clearly too dangerous. But yeah.
Goes on for almost a decade. Starbucks is just raking in the money, opening up new stores all over the place. And by 2000, Howard Schultz decides that he's going to step down as CEO and he's going to focus all of his efforts into expanding the company, having Starbucks everywhere, all over the world. That same year, Howard Schultz takes Starbucks to China, which is absolutely insane because China drinks tea. They don't drink coffee.
Pour the tea.
Regardless, Howard Schultz shows up in China, opens up a Starbucks, basically like just, hey, commies, I know you guys like tea, but hear me out, try some coffee and some blue jeans, it's way cooler. And to everybody's
Hey, would you like to try some capitalist dirty bean water?
surprise, the Chinese people fucking loved it, and they started opening up Starbucks at a rate that Starbucks had never seen. Okay, they were opening up a new Starbucks every 15 hours for 20 years straight in China. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you, nothing warms my heart more than when a communist nation falls in love with American fast food. It's just perfect.
What happened?
I won.
Fast forward to 2008, Starbucks is now losing money for some reason. Nobody can really figure out why. So Howard Schultz comes back, becomes CEO again, and he's trying to figure out what have they done to his company. He's been focusing on growing, opening up new locations. Meanwhile, all the locations that have already been opened aren't making as much money as they should be. What on earth is going on? Schultz discovers for the past 8 years in his absence that he's been letting a bunch of business majors run his business, and all they care about is how to maximize profits. So they did just that. They streamlined everything. They automated everything. Starbucks no longer grinds coffee in-house at its coffee shops. They do it all in a factory and just ship the ground coffee there. It's quicker, it's more efficient, it probably makes more money, but now Starbucks, a coffee shop, doesn't smell like freshly ground coffee. It smells like a hospital. They replaced all the traditional espresso machines with these automatic machines that would just spit out a completely done drink, which means they basically got rid of baristas and they just had a person behind the counter that would grab the cup from the machine that made it and hand it to the person. Essentially, the business majors had gotten rid of the culture and the experience of going to a coffee shop, which was the entire point and justification of overcharging for coffee in the first place. Remember,
people who do corporate stuff are often don't understand why that thing works. That's why there's so many companies that produce the same game over and over again. Because they're like, hey, people like this series. Why don't we just not stop making this one series? Why innovate? Why do anything different? God, games done by a committee are terrible. But either way.
it's just like a bar. You wouldn't want to go drink a beer inside of a hospital room. You'd rather go home and do that in your backyard. If you're going to go and overpay for beer, you want to go to a cool bar with your friends. It's the same deal with a coffee shop. People pay for products and people pay for experiences, and they got rid of half of that equation, and it's making the entire company suffer.
I'm surrounded by idiots.
Howard Schultz correctly identifies this and pretty much immediately has everybody start grinding the coffee fresh in the individual Starbucks locations to bring back that coffee smell. He gets rid of all the automatic machines, brings back all the traditional coffee shop equipment, and then he shuts down every single Starbucks and retrains all the baristas in how to turn this place into an actual coffee shop again. And with that, the crisis is averted. Everything's back on course. They're making money again like they're supposed to be. Howard Schultz has one eye on the past. He knows how they got here. He knows what he needs to keep doing to be successful, but now he's got to keep that other eye on the future. Okay, got to remember, it's 2008, 2009. Smartphones are becoming a thing. Everybody's getting an app. Starbucks has to get an app, right? Okay, so they build the Starbucks app. Now, the app is super straightforward. You take money, you put it on the app, the money sits there until you spend it at a Starbucks, and then when you do spend money from the app, you're going to get stars, which is basically your rewards, and once you get so many stars, you get a free drink. And then as time progressed, you could do online ordering, and you could order from your phone, so it was ready when you got to the coffee shop if you were in a hurry or something. But the key function of the Starbucks app is that it's essentially a gift card that's on your phone. You charge it up, you spend it at Starbucks, you get free rewards. And it works out great for a lot of people, right? If you go to Starbucks every day, spending $10 a trip, and you're spending $300 a month at Starbucks, you can just take $300 at the beginning of the month, charge up your Starbucks thing, and you're good to go, and then you get a bunch of free drinks along the way. But here's the catch with that. While it functions like a gift card to the consumer, it functions like a bank to Starbucks. Okay? I mean, think about how a bank works. You go to a bank, you open...
We are now getting into the why it's an unregulated bank.
Open up an account, and then you give them your money, and then they just hang on to it for you until they need it. And in the meantime, they go and they invest your money and make money off of your money, and then they give you some of that money back, and that's how much interest you accrue. But what Starbucks has done is you now give Starbucks money, and they sit on that money, and then they don't have to give you that money back. You can't get your money out of the Starbucks app. The only thing you can do with that money now is buy coffee at Starbucks. And they don't have to give you interest for it, right? If you give Starbucks $300, they get to sit on it and do whatever the fuck they want with it. They owe you $300 worth of coffee, which to them probably only costs like $80 to make, but that's their money now, and they get to do whatever they want with it, right? They could literally put it in the stock market and make, 7% interest off of all your money. Meanwhile, you're making nothing.
The only problem you're gonna have is that you didn't buy more. Sound fair enough?
My wife might divorce me, but yeah, let's do it.
And here's the thing, it's basically a win-win because you don't care. You have $100 in there. They would have paid you like 7 cents. Who cares? It's no big deal, right? But when Starbucks, who in 2024 has 35,000 locations and millions of customers, has all these people with $5, $10, $15, $20, $100, $300 in their Starbucks account sitting there doing nothing, Starbucks as of 2024 has 1.7.
That's American capitalism, person. You're just going to have to deal with it. Well, no, technically you're in the UK, so you don't need to deal with it. Just be happy you don't have to deal with it.
$1 billion sitting inside of their app that hasn't been redeemed yet. Okay, $1.7 billion is more than 90% of all banks in the United States of America have access to. Starbucks is literally one of the biggest banks in the country. They don't have to pay interest to any of their clients. They're not FDIC insured, and they don't owe you shit. Bear in mind, even if you do redeem it, they're making like 100% profit margin built into their prices already. And on
You are suave. Software. Software indeed. Yes.
top of that, they already know that like 10% of people are just gift cards that are never actually going to redeem it, or they got lost, or they changed phones and they lost track of their account, so they're just going to start a new one. There was 20 bucks there, it's not worth the hassle. Starbucks just gets to keep that money forever. But here's the crazy part, because Starbucks hasn't actually given the customer...
Don't worry, person. YouTube won't be able to see your horrible mistakes.
customer their product yet. It's just $1.7 billion that's redeemable by the customer, which means that that $1.7 billion that is sitting inside of a Starbucks bank account controlled 100% by Starbucks isn't income, it's not profit, it's not revenue, it's a liability, meaning it's not taxed at all. So Starbucks essentially has a $1.7 billion 0% interest untaxed loan that they can use to invest on whatever the fuck they want. They can do the most conservative investing on the planet. They could take all $1.7 billion and invest it in US government treasury bonds that pay 5% and still make $85 million a year for doing fucking nothing.
The real question is this: was all this legal? Absolutely fucking not.
Okay, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, Starbucks has literally done what cryptocurrency has tried to do. They created their own currency, right? When you look at the US dollar is backed by the US government, which used to be backed by gold, but now it's just backed by the biggest military on the planet. America used to run on the gold standard, now we just run on the lead standard. Regardless, that's what you're banking on when you put your money in US dollars. You're banking on the US government not failing. Starbucks, when you put money in their app, you're just banking on the fact that you're going to be able to go pretty much anywhere in the country or most places around the world and be able to redeem that magical internet coupon on your phone for some good coffee. Okay, the name Starbucks is starting to make a lot more sense now, isn't it? Okay, and here's what I want you to think about. Think about a bank. You walk into a bank, in the lobby, there's always free coffee, and then you walk in, you give them your money, and they hang on to it until you want it back. Starbucks does the exact same fucking thing, except somehow they get away with charging you money for the coffee, and then they never ever have to give you your money back. They're only gonna give you coffee. This is the craziest business model on the planet, okay? And the best part is, there's no victims. Nobody's mad, okay? Everybody that gives Starbucks their money never expects their money back. They just want coffee, and that's exactly what they get. They're happy. Starbucks gets...
Also, coffee is like an coffee is addictive. When you've heard people go like, don't talk to me until I have my coffee. It's because they're literally going through withdrawal. Ha ha ha. You know, isn't it great that we have like drugs that are socially acceptable to have? I mean, I don't drink coffee, but yeah.
A $1.7 billion untaxed 0% interest loan makes a ton of money. Everybody gets their coffee. It's the most incredible business model I've ever come across, ever. Okay, at this point, I feel like I've said pretty much nothing but good things about Starbucks, and I need to talk a little smack now so that things can be balanced.
This whole thing should be.
I don't even know where to start, so we're just going to start with the union thing. Unions are a very political topic. Democrats typically like them. Republicans typically hate them. I'm not getting into what should or shouldn't happen or who's right or who's wrong. All I'm going to say, the baristas have been trying to have a Starbucks union for like the past 10 years, and Starbucks has been fighting tooth and nail to prevent that from happening. And in 2002, to help Starbucks accomplish this, they hired a new manager in Global Intelligence for Retail Operations, which is probably the most menacing title I could possibly come up with. But what's more interesting is this person's background and who they worked for previously. Those being the Central Intelligence Agency and the Pinkerton Group.
Pinkerton Detective Agency, seconded to the United States government. Nice to finally meet.
Okay, just so
That's, yeah. A lot of people don't realize that the villains of Red Dead Redemption 2, the Pinkertons, are an actual organization that really exists. They existed and they still exist.
So we're all on the same page. First of all, CIA, right out of the gate, overkill immediately. But then you add the Pinkerton Group on top of it, and this is fucking insane. Okay, because if you don't know, the Pinkertons are literally the fucking bad guys from Red Dead Redemption 2, okay? They've been banned from doing federal work for the government since like 1893. Do you know how sketchy you have to be to get banned from working for the United States federal government? And to make it even worse, the reason they got banned, it's literally called the Anti-Pinkerton Act of 1893. The main reason that it went into effect was because the Pinkertons got hired to bust up unions in the 1800s, and they were doing that by joining the unions secretly and breaking them up, which led to a shit ton of violence and murders. So the fact that Starbucks hired one to keep the baristas in line is some of the most unhinged shit I've heard in my entire life. That'd be like if your local school district's administrator hired an ex-Blackwater guy to keep the English department in check, okay? It's complete overkill. Do you know how much money I would pay to be able to be a fly on the wall during the interview for that job and the events leading up to it? Okay, now on to the new CEOs. Howard Schultz retired in 2002, and Starbucks has been struggling ever since because immediately upon entering the job position as CEO, his successor had a brilliant idea. What if we quit focusing on being a coffee shop and we divert all of our efforts and attention to being better at being a drive-through coffee service? Which, to be fair, if you don't think about it, this is absolutely brilliant, right? Because Starbucks has never made this exact mistake before between 2000 and 2008. And even if they did, who cares? Because the only thing better than making a mistake is making the same exact mistake twice.
You actually, this is stupid.
So obviously that CEO didn't last very long. He was employed for a total of 17 months before he was forced to step down by the board, and Starbucks just hired their new CEO, the former CEO of Chipotle, and apparently this guy is awesome. I think under his command...
Important to note, CEOs aren't really motivated to improve. They tend to, even when they get fired in cases like this, they just get rehired by a different group. So most of them just fail upwards.
Chipotle's stock price rose 700%. So that's great, but here's the problem. This guy lives in California, and he didn't want to move all the way up to Seattle because he enjoys the sun and the beaches, and he didn't want to move where it's gloomy and always raining. But Starbucks really wanted to hire this guy, so what they came up with was he can super commute to Starbucks headquarters 3 times a week. And when I say super commute, I mean he's going to get to take the Starbucks private jet from California to Seattle 1,000 miles round trip 3 times a week. The man's literally the Taylor Swift of CEOs, okay? And honestly, good for him. It's kind of fucking gangster that he got offered a job for $1.3 million a year with a $10 million sign-on bonus and a bunch of stock options. Dude's making millions and millions of dollars a year, and he's still like, nah, I'm not taking the job. I don't want to move. And Starbucks folds and is like, fuck it, you can take the private jet, we'll pay for it, to fly you to work 3 times a week. That's a gangster-ass move. I kind of respect it. But on the flip side, we've got the environment, you know, climate change, which a lot of people care a whole lot about. And to be completely honest, I'm not really one of them. I mean, look at me. I don't exactly scream climate change activist or active in general, really. But regardless, as far as I'm concerned, if they're willing to pay to have this guy fly private 3 times a week, more power to him. Go right ahead. He could drive a fucking M1 Abrams tank to work every day for all I care. Okay, but I don't ever want to hear Starbucks talking about climate change and being green ever again, all right? This is the same company that tried to make the entire planet drink out of reusable cups with mushy-ass paper straws, and half their website is dedicated to showing off how much they care about the environment, how many environmental impact studies they've done, and blah, 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 blah. What do the environmental impact studies say? Only poor people can put carbon into the atmosphere? Get the fuck out of here. Why don't you guys just tell the truth? Throw it up on the website. Have a press release that just straight up says, hey, we've hired the scientists, the mathematicians, we've done the research, we've done the calculations, and we've come to the conclusion that if we can inconvenience enough poor people, it's gonna offset all the rich people behaving like giant assholes all the time. I'm dead serious. You should actually do it, because you wanna know what's gonna happen? Basically nothing. I guarantee you there will be a climate change protest outside of Seattle headquarters for like 45 minutes. Literally just long enough for all the college students that showed up to get a quick picture for Instagram to show how much they care, and then they're all gonna disappear and go back to what they were doing. And you wanna know what they're gonna leave behind? A mountain of garbage, and half of that garbage is gonna be empty Starbucks cups anyway.
Because that's what they often do. The climate change people often leave tons of trash behind. Hi, Anne. How are you? So yeah, you missed the part where he described why, like, you know, Starbucks is a unregulated bank of massive proportions. I'm all right. I hope you're doing well. Also, a very interesting point for me to stop. He's making like a Trump face. Have you ever looked at a picture where they've replaced Donald Trump's eyes with his lips? The funny part is most people can't tell that they've done it until someone actually says, like, this isn't him, the picture of him normally. I've literally photoshopped it so his eyes have been replaced with his lips, and it just looks like his normal weird squinty eyes. Ah, yes, Hawkeye. I hope your pulls have been good. But yeah. I shall continue now.
Anyways, okay? Nobody actually cares. Everybody's virtue signaling. Starbucks isn't a coffee shop. It's an unregulated bank.
Well.
Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is to go buy some merch over at thefatelectrician.com. Quack, bang, out.
Either way, I'm very happy that you came by. I understand that, well... No, Anne, you can't continue playing. You have to only do... Don't you understand? I'm the most important person... of course, Anne. Of course. You can continue playing your game. I'm really happy you came by, but yeah.
You know, if Starbucks was actually smart, they would just hire the CIA and the Pinkertons to assassinate climate change. Then we wouldn't have this problem in the first place.
I'll leave it there. Alright, that's fine. Still, I appreciate you coming by. You're going to... It's okay, Anne. You'll be here in spirit. When you're really just collecting husbandos and cute little animals. And some anime women, too. So, it's now time to cover Chick-fil-A and why it outperforms the competition. I don't know if Chick-fil-A exists outside of America. Have you ever seen one person, or Anne? Or anyone else who's watching? I'm asking my UK and Australian viewers, since, oh, no. Yeah. Well, their chicken is pretty good, but the person who runs the company is a devout Christian. So, they have certain views which don't line up with how society, or some people believe society should be run. However, having said that, if I remember correctly, this person also donates a ton of money and also often provides care for disaster relief and helps fund things like, I think... Now, there's part of the country has, I guess it's like Tornado Alley, and is also susceptible to being hit by constant waves of hurricanes. Now, they have these trucks which have washing machines in them, where they can, after, one of these horrible incidents where a hurricane destroys a lot of the infrastructure, and people's houses are flooded and they're unable to do things, these trucks will come by, and people can wash their clothes. Or like wash and dry their clothing, which it doesn't sound like much, but you can imagine if you don't have power, your house is flooded, and just having the convenience of that is important. I mean, as I said, I don't know if he still does this. He did this years ago, and even then, I'm not sure whether Chick-fil-A's boss is like, what level his bigotry is. I don't know if it's just that he's like, I don't support trans people, or it's like there's only two genders, or if he's straight up one of the crazy people who's just like, I believe in gay conversion camps. I have no idea. But, so I'm not going to comment on how bad he is. But, yeah. Time to start the actual video.
Model of all time, and I think that it is the epitome of capitalism done right. Today we're talking about Chick-fil-A. It is the most successful restaurant chain in America, and it has done that despite being canceled like every 5 minutes for the past decade. So at a bare minimum, regardless about how you feel about Chick-fil-A, you should at least take the time to understand their business model, because it's really really good. And when I say it's good, that's an understatement because they're not just the most successful restaurant chain in America, they are the most successful by like 10 miles. They absolutely body the competition. It's not even close. Okay, let me break this down for you. The most profitable restaurant chains of 2023 are as follows. Starbucks with $35 billion, McDonald's with $25 billion, and then coming in third is Chick-fil-A with $21 billion. So, how is it that the third most profitable restaurant is somehow the most successful? Well, per capita matters, right? Because Starbucks is coming in first with $35 billion, but they've got 38,000 locations. McDonald's coming in second with 25 billion.
Actually, let me just check that. So, Starbucks, oh, this is a Starbucks map. But yeah, like, look at how many Starbucks locations there are. So, you know, there's a lot more places for them to get more revenue.
8,000 locations. McDonald's coming in second with $25 billion, but they've got 40,000 locations. Chick-fil-A is coming in third place with $21 billion, and they have 2,900 locations. Okay, these other restaurant chains are 12 times larger and have roughly the same output as Chick-fil-A, meaning that the average Chick-fil-A is like 12 to 14 times more profitable than your average McDonald's or Starbucks, which is absolutely fucking insane. And then it gets even crazier when I remind you that Chick-fil-A isn't open on Sundays, meaning that Chick-fil-A is outperforming all of its peers with less locations, working less hours a day, working less days per week. And we're going to get into how that's possible right after a word from our sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by Rocket Money. It is your all-in-one finance app capable of doing...
I'm going to skip this because, well, I don't think you need a finance app.
Negotiate to lower your bill and save you money there too. So if you want to give Rocket Money a try for free, you can go to rocketmoney.com/fatfiles. I'm going to have it also linked in the description down below. Let's get back to the video. Anyways, let's take it from the top. All right, our story begins March 21st, 1921, when this old guy was born. Well, he was a baby at the time. He was just born. It was his first birthday. Well, his 0 birthday, which doesn't make sense because technically that literally is his first birthday, but we don't call it your first birthday until you've already been alive for a whole year, which, anyway, birthdays are dumb. Moving on. Sorry, anyways, that's Truett Cathy. He is a founder of Chick-fil-A, and when he was 20 years old, Pearl Harbor was attacked. I assume he thought to himself, you know what this world needs? Less fascism and more dope-ass chicken sandwiches. So, he joined the army. So he goes, he fights in World War II. Fast forward, 1945, Allies win. He comes back home, crosses defeat fascism off the to-do list. Only thing left, make a dope-ass chicken sandwich. First things first, gotta have a restaurant, right? So he opens up his own restaurant. It is called Dwarf House, and it is open 24 hours a day, 6 days a week. Every day except for Sunday. He's a real religious guy. He just believed in taking Sundays off. So that's what he's up to for like the next 21 years from 1946 till 1967. He's running this singular...
Some of my younger friends are actually balding. I'm at the age... I'm getting around close to the age where I, statistically, men my age start losing their hair. However, my hair currently appears to be still be full, which is good.
Restaurant that is his, getting a bunch of experience, learning, you know, doing the whole shtick. His current restaurant has this...
We'll do a balding stream, yeah? No. No. There are some people that never lose their hair. But yeah. I sincerely hope I am the other one. Even if you are, there's so many things now that help you deal with that type of stuff. But, you know, I don't really need it.
This enormous menu. Then one day in 1967, he's working with this food distributor that offers him a deal on chicken breasts because they are selling chicken breasts to the airline, and the airline can only take these little tiny chicken breasts that fit inside the little itty-bitty airline food trays. So all the chicken breasts that he's going to be getting are just the big, juicy ones, and he's like, yeah, I can figure something out. From there, he goes into his lab trying to figure out the best way to cook chicken breasts, and he decides he's going to pressure cook it inside fancy peanut oil with his secret blend of herbs and spices, and that recipe is still locked up in Chick-fil-A headquarters to this day. So he's done it. He's made the best fried chicken the world has ever seen. So he's like, okay, only problem, it's pretty greasy. Like, it's really greasy.
Well, the best, you know, chain fried chicken. Willie Mays, I think, is the best fried chicken in all of America, according to overwhelming, or at least it was, like a year ago, I think. I consider the best fried chicken in America. But yeah, I'll react to that. It's been a while since I've done a dedicated food video. I'll do that some other time.
It's too greasy to eat with your hands. So he's like, okay, well, I'm just going to stick it inside of a hamburger bun with butter and 2 pickles and make it a sandwich. And thus, the chicken sandwich was born. Or at least that's what Chick-fil-A says. They say that they're the ones that invented the chicken sandwich, and this was it. So he's like, you know what? I'm done with this enormous menu selling all these different items. I'm just going to sell this chicken sandwich. I'm going to rename...
Well, I think it's... Well, no, that's a different person. Billy Mays is someone else. And also, her name, I think, is literally Willie Mays. I think it is. Okay, first, sorry for the people who are invested in the video. I'm just checking this. Let's see. I can't. Best fired chicken in America. Totally, I can spell. That's okay. That's people voting for like a. The problem is people tend to like voting for fast food joints. So you know, people will also who do that also put in McDonald's. Because a lot of these people don't realize. Is it Billy Mays? I thought it would. That guy, no, that's a different person. One second. Oh, well, okay. Well, I was pronouncing it right. It's Willie Mays, yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's Willie Mays, yes. It's, you know. Also, I've had Jollibee fried chicken. It's not that great. The problem is, I guess, you know, if you eat, it's not bad. I'm not going to try and start, like, you know, a war or something, but Jollibee is a fast food restaurant. And people who go, this fast food restaurant has the best food ever, is just like, you've never been to a real restaurant before in your entire life, have you? But yeah, either way. There's a video from Jollibee of them going to it, and they really, really liked it. I'll cover that in another video.
In my restaurant from the Dwarf House to Chick-fil-A, and this is all I'm gonna sell. And the rest is history, okay? Fast forward like 60 years, guess what they're still doing today? They are selling that exact chicken sandwich, which leads me into the first principle of why they're so successful. They follow the simple rule of if it's not broke, don't fix it. Okay, the chicken sandwich is perfect. Leave it alone. Nobody touch it. Just keep selling the exact same thing that got you here. I know that sounds simple and dumb, but most companies can't help but fuck this up.
That is a Cheez-It inside. 16 times the size of a regular Cheez-It, I present to you the Cheez-It Crunch Wrap.
Okay, and I can give you a real-life example why changing shit up and having promotional items all the time is a terrible idea. I used to eat Doritos all the time. Then, one day, Doritos came out with this new flavor called Buffalo Ranch Doritos Jacked, and they were the best Doritos on the planet by like 10 miles, and I probably ate a bag of...
He's saying it interesting. It sounds like he's saying Doritos. Isn't it Doritos?
them every day for several years straight. Then one day they just disappeared and they quit making them, seemingly for no reason. I can only assume it's because it was driving down the sales of all the other flavors because they were the best Doritos ever. And now, guess what? I just don't eat Doritos anymore because every time I eat a normal Dorito or a Cool Ranch Dorito or a sweet chili Dorito, I go, oh. It's like a shittier version of Doritos Jacked Buffalo Ranch, and I don't even like it anymore. Okay, because you gotta realize, people are creatures of habit. I would have habitually eaten a bag of Doritos Jacked every day till I died if they gave me the option to, but they took Doritos Jacked away, then they essentially broke my habit for me, and I just never went back to eating normal Doritos, okay? So, it was a giant mistake to have the promotional item in the first place, because if they didn't have that, I probably would have just kept eating normal Doritos for the rest of my life. But no, they fucked it up. Which leads us right into our next principle, the KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid, and this is really where Chick-fil-A excels. Okay, let me break this down for you. Here's their entire menu. They sell chicken sandwiches. That chicken can be fried or grilled, and it can come with cheese or lettuce if you want, and then they also have chicken nuggets and chicken tenders. That's it. That's like the whole menu. And some of you are like, wow, that's not a lot of variety. I'd probably get bored if I went there a lot. First of all, unlikely. It's the best chicken sandwich on the planet. Secondly, even if you did get to the point where you're like, you know what? I don't want a chicken sandwich. Cool. Then don't go to Chick-fil-A, okay? If you don't need plumbing work done, don't call a plumber. But if you do need plumbing work done, you call a plumber. And if you want a chicken sandwich, you go to Chick-fil-A because it's the best chicken sandwich, okay? There's nobody on the planet that's like, man, I would really enjoy a chicken sandwich right now. And they pull up to an intersection and there's a McDonald's right next to a Chick-fil-A. 0 people on the planet are going to go to McDonald's for that chicken sandwich, okay? None. Nobody. Chick-fil-A has picked its arena of battle, and when it comes to chicken sandwiches, they are the undefeated heavyweight champion. Which honestly is exactly how you should tackle pretty much anything in life, okay? Pick the one thing that you want to excel at and just be the best in the world at it, and you're going to make way more money than anybody else, okay? Let me break this down for you. Every person that you've ever looked up to, pretty much ever, you've admired for the fact that they are the best in the world at something, or they excel at one thing in particular, okay? Michael Jordan hasn't played basketball in decades, but everybody on the planet knows who Michael Jordan is because that
Although he did play baseball for a while, so, you know, the example he gave is also kind of, yeah. But he wasn't terribly good. I don't think he was horrible at baseball, but it was at the point of where they made a joke about it in Space Jam. The original Space Jam movie.
Motherfucker was the best at playing basketball. Okay, you've never had a role model in your entire life where you're like, wow, I really look up to this person because they're pretty mediocre at a bunch of random shit. Okay, so picking the one thing that you want to be the best at and pursuing just that is a good strategy for pretty much anything, but when it comes to restaurants, it is uniquely awesome, and here's why. Picking one type of food to be the best in the world at makes the menu smaller, and making the menu smaller not only makes your employees better and the food better, it makes the customers better. Because the menu is small, customers are going to have less things to choose, they're also going to have less things to remember, so after you've been to a Chick-fil-A like twice, you know the entire menu, and even if it is your first time there, there's less things to choose, so you're going to pick one quickly, and then you're going to move it along. That means the lines are moving faster. You don't have people standing there looking up at a menu with 10,000 different items, drooling on themselves, desperately trying to figure out what they want. No, it's like Aldi. You have one.
Now, drooling on themselves is important to remember because after all, we are Americans. It does happen sometimes. I mean, people in the UK and Australia might not realize how prevalent it is. Wearing a bib into a fast food place is important because, you know, we want to be able to be presentable when we go back outside. Of course, I'm making all that shit up. Please don't take me seriously.
One option. Pick it and move it along, okay? So now, not only are you getting a delicious chicken sandwich, you're getting it even faster, improving customer satisfaction. And there's still more to it, because now on the other side of the cash register, back in the kitchen, there's less items on the menu. That means that there's less variables, and less variables almost always...
Person, how low is your opinion of Americans? To actually believe that we're not all dumb. A large percentage of us are, but we're not all dumb.
Leads to less fuck-ups. So not only are you getting a delicious chicken sandwich, you're getting...
What kind of image am I portraying to make you think that Americans are like this?
It fast, and you're getting it how you wanted it to be in the first place, okay? Customer satisfaction is through the roof. Okay, and at this point, some of you think, surely I'm exaggerating, and having a smaller menu can't make the business that much better. But you're wrong, and we're going to go over McDonald's menu together, and I will prove it to you. All right, McDonald's menu, let's see what we got going on here. First off, we have the Big Mac, and then we have the Quarter Pounder. First question right off the bat, why do we have the same type of meat with different sizes of patties, okay? Go with the smaller patties, and then if they want more meat, just give them more patties. Don't have different sizes for no reason. It's more more variables and somebody's gonna
What?
fuck it up eventually, okay? Because me, the fat guy, on lunch break while I'm at work, orders a double quarter pounder with cheese, and then they accidentally give me normal big...
Wait, what? Oh, I didn't even notice that. Person, you literally just drew my attention to your mistake. Person, do you actually get off on the fact that when I make fun of you? Oh no. Oh no. I'm getting back to the video. I'm not gonna get sad for a little while.
I'm gonna be sad, and then I have to get my burger remade, and it slows down the whole world. Okay, next order of business. Why do some buns have sesame seeds and some don't? Okay, do I care about sesame seeds? No. Does any rational person care about sesame seeds on the bun unless they have an allergy? Absolutely not. But we all know that there's some Karen that's gonna use that as an excuse to drive back around and go through the drive-thru again, bitch out the employee for 5 minutes because she's trying to get a free meal over it, okay? Now you've ruined the employee's day, you've slowed down the line, and you have to make more burgers, all because you can't decide whether or not you want sesame seeds on your buns, okay? Just make a decision. Okay, next question. What the fuck is the difference between a McDouble and a double cheeseburger? They look like the same exact thing. Oh, I see here. It's one piece of cheese. That's the difference. You have a whole different sandwich with a different name over one piece of cheese, okay? Just pick how you're making a double cheeseburger. Do you want it with one piece or 2 pieces of cheese? Don't have 2 different options, because now I have to listen to the next 10,000 people ask, what's the difference between the McDouble and the double cheeseburger? One's cost 7 cents more because it has an extra piece of cheese, okay? That's dumb. Get rid of it.
Well, also, the McDouble is a part of a deal where you can get 2 for, well, they keep changing, but you can buy 2 of them for a deal. For a lower price.
Picture.
All right, moving on. Chicken and fish, adding 2 more types of meat, which is more variable, so that's bad, right?
Wait a second. There's also a double cheeseburger, or 2 double cheeseburger meal. Never mind.
Off the bat. Secondly, the best sounding one is the Bacon Cajun Ranch McCrispy. Now, unfortunately, it's a limited time only item, and it's probably the best one because that sounds way better than a regular McCrispy, which means I'm never going to eat a regular McCrispy ever again because I'm always going to be thinking about the one that got away, the delicious Bacon Cajun Ranch McCrispy, okay? Stop doing limited time and seasonal items. Every time I lose a limited time item, it's like getting dumped by a girlfriend, okay? Quit putting people through that. Either keep the item or don't keep the item. Okay, next order of business. Why are we adding a 3rd additional bun? Okay, this one also has no sesame seeds. Just put the no sesame seed bun on this one. Or if this bun is better, just get rid of the shitty bun altogether. Okay, then we come to this philosophical conundrum. What is the difference between the McChicken and the McCrispy? Can somebody explain this to me? That's rhetorical. I'm fat. Of course I know the difference. Okay, this one right here is where they're trying to knock off Chick-fil-A. I know that because it looks like they're trying to knock off Chick-fil-A. And secondly, it comes in a foil bag just like Chick-fil-A. And this is their original chicken sandwich, which is basically a frozen hockey puck that they call chicken that they popped in the microwave beforehand, okay? If you're trying to rip off Chick-fil-A, just commit to it and get rid of this one altogether. Okay, moving on. Okay, then we have the chicken nuggets.
Hey, stop it!
Okay, so that's 2. Now we've got 10 for a total of 19 different items on their entree menu. Okay, now let's just go ahead and pop over to Chick-fil-A and look at a piece of art. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 items. That's it.
Well, they also have a breakfast. Some Chick-fil-A's also have a breakfast menu. So, you know, there's that to take into mind too. But their breakfast menu is also rather small.
Okay, now I'm going to ding them here because that is a different bun, clearly. However, I can see from here that that bun looks like it tastes like shit. So clearly it is a healthier bun somehow that's going with the healthier cut of chicken. So at least that makes sense, okay? Okay, moral of the story, less items with less ingredients equals less fuck-ups, which makes everything move faster. And this is where I really think they get capitalism right, and that principle is slow is smooth and smooth is fast. You see, there's only 2,900 Chick-fil-A's, and they're not in a hurry to put up a bunch more. They would rather have one really good Chick-fil-A as opposed to 10 pretty mediocre ones. And that's why one Chick-fil-A makes 12 times as much money as a McDonald's. And having this mentality allows them to focus on the original goal, which is just having good food. When you compare Chick-fil-A to McDonald's as far as opening up a new location goes, it's insane how different their mentalities are. Because McDonald's is meticulous. They go full psychological warfare mode on where they're going to put all of their locations. I'm making these numbers up, but this is roughly what their process is. If you come to McDonald's with millions of dollars, say, hey, I want to open up a McDonald's, they're like, cool, give us the general area. Then they send people out to sit in potential locations, and those people just sit there and count how many cars drive by. Click, 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 click. And McDonald's knows out of every 100 cars that drives by, 3 of them are going to pull into McDonald's, and they know that every single person that pulls into a McDonald's on average spends $12 or whatever. Before McDonald's even breaks ground on the new restaurant, they can predict within $10,000 how much money that location is going to make that year. Chick-fil-A, on the other hand, doesn't give a shit. They're going full Field of Dreams approach. If I build it, they will come, okay? They can't tell you within $10,000 how much money you're going to make in your first year, but guess what? They can tell you it's going to be more than any fucking McDonald's around. And because they grow so slowly, they're not like a normal franchise where just some rich millionaire dude can come up and be like, hey, I want to own a Chick-fil-A and never actually work there. No, Chick-fil-A owns every Chick-fil-A. They own all of it. They own the restaurant, the property it's built on, and all the equipment inside of it, okay? If you want to run a Chick-fil-A, you become an operator, at which point you get 50% of the profits of that restaurant that you run, okay? They are extremely picky about who they let run Chick-fil-A's. You almost always have to have worked there for an extended period of time and worked your way up. These people end up making over $250,000 a year, and they have to have a very, very small investment. I think it's like $10,000, and it's not even technically an investment. It's more or less a security deposit, because if this person goes to a different job or they retire, they actually get that money back, assuming that the restaurant that they were running is in good condition when they leave. According to their website, like over 10,000 people every year apply to be an operator and run a Chick-fil-A, and they pick like maybe a couple hundred. They have a less than 1% approval rate for people going through an extensive interview process that includes writing essays, background screenings, and everything else. Now, obviously, there's pros and cons to this, just like everything else. One of the cons being, while you are the operator, you're technically not the owner, so you kind of always have that dangling over your head, like you're not actually the owner of the Chick-fil-A, you just run the place for somebody else. But at the same time, I think that it also incentivizes all the employees that work there, because there is actually a clear path of like success. There's a real career there where you can actually work your way up the ranks and start making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, potentially at a job that you started when you were 16 years old working in high school. Okay, like I think it does a lot to the morale and the overall culture of an entire company to actually have a visible ladder there that people at the bottom can climb up to the top. Because I mean, let's face it, a lot of these restaurants, like, yeah, technically you could own a McDonald's, but also I think McDonald's charges $50,000 or $60,000 just as a franchise fee to open up the restaurant. Then you also have to pay for the restaurant. Basically, you need like between $2 and $3 million to open.
So, person, you want to open up a McDonald's? Just ask your parents for a small loan. You know, that's funny because it doesn't show. I can see on my phone your response, but not on here. But yeah.
McDonald's. So, as a person working at the cash register, that dream of potentially owning one, I guess technically is possible, but also highly, highly unlikely. And the problem with that is...
Well, you know, that's too bad, because I'm already opening up one in your name. But I haven't put any money on it, and it's all in your father's name. He'll be fine with, you know, opening up a McDonald's franchise and paying the cost of all those bills. Yes, totally. Yeah, absolutely.
Instead of getting people that work their way up from doing dishes in the back all the way to running the store, you just get a bunch of multi-millionaire assholes that want to buy 50 McDonald's so that they can make even more money while also not working. Whereas Chick-fil-A, it's really hard to get a single Chick-fil-A, and then if you prove yourself and you're really, really good, sometimes they'll let you get a...
Because, you know, I'm one of those creepy internet people. Absolutely. Ah, yes. I shouldn't make jokes like that because some people will take it seriously. But yeah.
Second or a third one. Less than 15%.
Yes, person's dad, real name. Person, dad. First name, person. Last name's dad.
Of all Chick-fil-A operators, which is their equivalent of like a franchise owner, actually run more than one Chick-fil-A, and they're all highly...
Oh, shit. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to dox you online. Oh, God, person, I'm sorry. Oh, no. Oh, with all of my vast number of viewers, you're going to be... Oh. Oh, no. Ah. Yes. Esquire.
really successful. So at most, you're only allowed to run Chick-fil-A. While with other chain restaurants, you can just buy like 60 of them, make a bunch of money, and never have to set foot in the place, and then your culture sucks, nobody cares. It's just a giant money-making machine to you. Whereas with Chick-fil-A's strategy, even the people at the bottom of the totem pole could be like, oh shit, that's the guy running the show right now. He's here, he cares, he's helping me. He's been through what I've been through because he worked his way up. And I think that does a ton for the culture of a restaurant or any business, really. And I think it's pretty obviously visible from the outside if you've ever been to a Chick-fil-A. I think it's the best service out of any fast food restaurant I've ever been to. People are usually happy, and the
service is usually legendary at Chick-fil-A. People, like, they're basically supposed to smile all the time, but also, you know, getting paid more and having more benefits also. Also, getting one day off a week. I mean, having one day where you're not supposed to work a week is also, you know, a pretty good thing. And generally speaking, it seems a lot of people who work for Chick-fil-A are actually really happy about their job. So, you know, that's makes them happier. And generally speaking, they always seem to be in good moods.
Statistics support that. They have half the turnover rate as a typical fast food restaurant, and they pay a little bit more on average. In the same vein as Slow is Smooth and Smooth is Fast, this company also operates on little to no debt, okay? They're closed on Sundays, they donate to a lot of charity, and they don't really like debt. Dave Ramsey is absolutely in love with this company. And what I mean by this is, unlike other companies that go and get big loans to expand, they don't. They save up money, and once they have enough money to open a new restaurant, they open the restaurant. And I think that this makes the entire workplace environment better for absolutely everybody, because now the dude at the very top, the upper management levels, aren't freaking out about the bottom line. They don't have interest payments. They don't have payments they have to keep making all the time. It makes a low stress environment for them, which means they're not putting a bunch of stress and pressure on all the people below them. And that trickles all the way down throughout the entire company and just makes everything 100 times better. So in conclusion, whether you like Chick-fil-A or not, you should absolutely pay attention to what they're doing, because it is undeniable that they are an unstoppable force in the restaurant industry. They are the only restaurant to face nationwide boycotts multiple times in the past decade, and yet somehow they are still 12 times more profitable per restaurant than any of the other major restaurant chains. And they are somehow doing that with less menu items that have less variety between them, while working less hours per day and working less days per week. And it all comes down to basic common sense principles, right? Pick the thing you want to be good at and just be good at that. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Keep it simple, stupid. Don't overcomplicate it along the way. And slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Just don't be in a hurry. If you can apply those 4 things to literally any situation in life, you're more than likely going to be successful at it. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over at fatelectrician.com. Quack, bang, out.
Alright, yeah. Keep it simple, stupid doesn't always work for everything. There are certain things where you need something more complicated or more flexible. But either way. I have actually never seen the Arizona tea episode that he's done, so this is a completely blind reaction. For the other videos, I've seen little bits and pieces of them, but this one is... I've actually never seen it. I'm sorry, my reactions aren't exactly interesting. I watch these videos more because I want to share things that I think are really fun with everyone who follows me. As childish as that seems and sounds, probably. I'm sorry about that. But either way, let's get into the last video that's currently on my list.
The most requested business for me to look into. Today we're talking about Arizona tea, and I think the reason so many people have requested this is fairly obvious. Clearly Arizona is up to something, selling these giant cans of tea for 99 cents, which right out of the gate feels weird, but then it gets even weirder when you realize that they've been selling that same can of tea for the same exact price since 1992. Okay, inflation has gone up
Well, thanks for saying that, person.
124% since then, meaning that if they just wanted to maintain everything, that can of tea should cost at least $2.24. Okay, bear in mind, we live in a world where as of 2021, the Dollar Tree is now the $1.25 tree, okay? The only other product that is sacred is the Costco $1.50 hot dog. And to make that even kind of feasible, Costco had to go out and buy 2 hot dog making factories, and they still lose money on it, okay? The only reason Costco's staying in business is because they make so much money on all the other things they sell, they can just afford to take a loss on the hot dog, which makes the Arizona tea can absolutely insane because it's the equivalent of Costco only selling hot dogs. They have to be losing money. It doesn't even seem feasible. They're clearly up to something, and we're going to get into it right after a word from our sponsor. This video is brought to you by Rocket Money, your all-in-one finance app that's going to help you cancel.
I'm going to skip this. Now, where is the... Alright, there. There we go.
That could have went better. Anyways, if you want to take control of your finances today, go check out Rocket Money. I will have a link in the description down below. Let's get back to the video. There's a baby monitor in my office. All right, our story begins with the owner of Arizona Tea, John Voltaggio. In the 1970s, he was a...
Is it so he can monitor his baby, or so his wife can monitor him? Who is the baby that's being monitored?
truck driver for an alcohol distribution service. Essentially, he was driving a truck around the city and he would deliver all the alcohol to convenience stores and gas stations, and he did that for years. After doing this for years, him and his co-worker John Farolito decided they're going to start their own distribution service. However, as I'm sure you can imagine, that's a very tough business to get into, and initially the only clients that they could get were all the convenience stores and gas stations on the sketchy part of town that nobody else wanted to deliver to, but they did it anyways. Then, after they had a fairly successful distribution service, they figured, hey, we're already carrying all these different types of beverages to deliver them to all the convenience stores, and we have those relationships. What if we started our own brewery and started making our own alcoholic beverage, and then we could just have one more product to be able to offer all these clients? So they did, and that was fairly successful also. So now that they have their own alcohol, they have to figure out how to market it, and this is where John Voltaggio really figures out how to market a product, and he looks around at all the other successful products in the alcohol market in the 1980s. And let's just call a spade here. The 1980s is the pinnacle of the sleazy advertisement era, okay? I mean, we've got Camels trying to sell children-flavored cigarettes, and we've got every alcohol company on the planet desperately trying to convince you that if you drink fucking Bud Light or Coors Light or whatever, a supermodel is going to be attracted to you and your beer gut. So John Voltaggio, learning how to market a product, he's like, okay, step one, make it cool. Step two, have a supermodel with huge cans, promote it. Easy. They then proceed to name their beer Midnight Dragon, which is the coolest fucking name for a beer I've ever heard, and this is in 2024. If you adjust for inflation, it had to have been way cooler back in the 1980s. I mean, even today, that's a brilliant name. Imagine going over to your buddy's house, he opens up the fridge. Oh, what did you want to drink? We've got Miller Lite and Midnight Dragon. Dragon? I mean, at that point, you could literally be a Miller Lite guy, and you're still gonna try at least one Midnight Dragon. You have to. So, step one, make it cool. Check. Step two, make it sexy, right? Sex sells. I present to you their first ever advertisement, a beer poster of a model in red lingerie holding a 40 of Midnight Dragon with a straw with the caption, "I could suck on this all night." The fact that it's a 40 is just completely outrageous. Like, the notion that anyone in the history of mankind has ever been drinking a 40 while simultaneously also concerned about smearing their lipstick is just completely unhinged. Like, I need a part two of this beer advertisement. I know that straw doesn't reach the bottom of that 40. What happens when the straw doesn't reach anymore? Do you just throw it away and get another 40? Or are you going to be so drunk off the first 20 ounces you're not going to care about your lipstick anymore? I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. Anyways, this goes on until like 1990, and John Voltaggio, while he's delivering beer one day, there's another distributor there, and he's actually dropping off a bunch of Snapple. And John Voltaggio is just like captivated by it because it's the middle of winter. Why on earth would anybody be drinking iced tea in the middle of winter? It doesn't make any sense to him, but apparently a bunch of people enjoy it, so he's like, that's it. I'm going to start selling tea. So the first thing Don has to figure out is the proposition, right? Why would anybody drink his tea over Snapple? Snapple's already an established brand. So he starts to thinking on how he's going to set himself different, how he's going to set himself apart, how he's going to be better. Now, I'm just guessing, but I'm assuming at this point he refers back to all of his experience, all of his knowledge, all of the lessons that he's learned from marketing and distributing beer over the past decade. And when you distill all that knowledge down, he knows that you have to make it cool and you have to make it sexy, right? Because sex sells. The problem is iced tea isn't exactly an adult beverage. There might be a lot of kids drinking this beverage too, and having some model with huge cans marketing it might be a little aggressive for something that children might be drinking, and then it hits him. huge cans. We'll get rid of the model and just keep the giant cans. Okay, now like the textbook business term for this strategy is called a value proposition. Basically, he's decided that Snapple is 16 ounces and it costs like, I don't know, $1.29, whatever it costs. He's coming in and he's like, cool, I'm gonna sell more. I'm gonna sell 23 ounce cans and I'm gonna sell it for less. I'm gonna sell it for 99 cents. That's the value proposition. You're gonna get more for less. Okay, that's what a textbook's gonna tell you, but I'm dubbing this the big can strategy, right? Because we've seen this time and time again, okay? Think about Monster Energy. Monster Energy was not the first energy drink to ever hit the market. That was Red Bull. Monster Energy just came along and was like, oh hey, Red Bull's only selling these little 8-ounce cans of energy drinks. What if I doubled the size and sold 16-ounce cans and gave it an even cooler logo? Boom, multi-billion-dollar business right out of the gate. And you know the kicker with that, one of the top executives that helped initially launch Monster and market it was a top-level executive at Arizona previously, so he knew exactly what he was doing with the big can strategy. In Don Voltaggio's own words, his marketing strategy is, and I quote, put tea in a big can and paint it pretty. Okay, if you learn nothing else from this video, just remember,
make sure to paint it pretty.
People like big...
I'm sorry about that. That sounds stupid as hell. I'm sorry.
Cans.
Did you say my name?
No, why?
You said big cans.
Yeah?
Well, that was my nickname in high school.
What?
Yeah, I didn't tell you that story?
No.
Yeah, so it all happened back in 2009. I was a freshman, and so all these boys were just like, all like them I'm like...
Sorry, what?
Are you paying attention?
Yeah. No, I heard all of it.
Okay.
Sorry, anyways, we've got the business model. Classic value proposition, give more for less. Super simple, easy to market, great, tried and true business strategy. Next thing, what are we gonna name the...
Well, it's his wife, so, you know, he loves his wife. Let's just end it there.
Company. So Don's thinking on it. He goes back home to his wife and he's looking at his house and he lives in this like Spanish colonial or sometimes referred to as Santa Fe style home. And he's like, cool, I'm just going to call it Santa Fe tea. When you think of tea, you think of hot, the desert. Santa Fe is perfect. We're going to slap Santa Fe on the can. He does a couple of designs. The word Santa Fe just, it doesn't look right. It doesn't fit. So he's like, fuck it. I'm just going to say Arizona tea. Don's never even set foot in Arizona, but he's like, it's fine. We're just going to call it Arizona tea. It'll be good.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, next thing. Got to make...
That is another American tradition. Naming things after places you've never been or that are completely unrelated. Plenty of states have Texas like this, Texas that, and it's something that's not from Texas or made by somebody who's never even been to Texas. Especially in the early in American history, because to a lot of Americans, Texas was exotic, so far away, and it was also new. It was formerly a part of Mexico, but now it's ours. But yeah.
The can's cool. Don's wife volunteers. She's going to design all the cans. Perfect. We got everything we need. So now Don and John Farolito are going to go to the bank, get a loan, and start their tea company. The bank hates it. They think it's a horrible, stupid idea, but they reluctantly end up giving the loan anyways for a couple of reasons. One, they're already successful businessmen. They already have a ton of money in collateral. And B, sometimes you just got to bet on the player and not the game. So the bank, while they were wrong, they ended up making the right decision and loaned them the money to get started. So 1992, Arizona tea hits the shelves for the first time and pretty much...
Actually, person, have you ever had Arizona tea, or do they even have that in the UK? Because, you know, that, of all the American things, that would be one thing that I would be shocked if it was banned in the UK. I mean, don't quote me on this, but as, you know, just canned tea, it should not have too many chemicals. Oh wait, never mind. I see vitamin C fortified. That could lead to problems.
is immediately outrageously successful. And from here, it's pretty much 3 decades of Don Voltaggio being a fucking gangster about absolutely everything. Don wakes up one morning, decides he wants to start selling giant 1-gallon jugs of tea. He starts making the tea, takes it to the distributor. The distributor's like, hey, this is never gonna sell. At which point Don is like, cool, you're never right about anything. Go ahead and put it on the shelf anyways. We'll see what happens. Now it's in like every grocery store in America. He decides he wants to come out with a new flavor of tea, honey and ginseng green tea, and then he has his wife design this beautiful can, at which point he takes a bunch of criticism like, hey, men are never gonna drink that tea because it's a girly colored can, at which point he's like, fine, I'll just sell it to women then. Fast forward a decade later, it's their best-selling flavor and probably one of the most iconic product designs of all time, and it's all because he had his wife's back like a complete badass. He would also get a bunch of shit because he wasn't doing any marketing. Like, he had no marketing department whatsoever, to the point that whenever...
Yeah, that is true. I've never seen an ad for Arizona tea. That's also probably why people outside of America don't know terribly about it, because it is iconic, but, you know, there's zero advertisements for it.
Companies or interviewers or news sources would ask, you know, hey, how big is your marketing department? He would reply, pretty big. About 6'8", in fact, referring to himself because he was the only guy that did any marketing, which honestly wasn't much. They weren't worried about product placements and being a Super Bowl commercial and all this other dumb shit that all the other brands do, because Don knew that he had the value proposition on his side. He knew that he was selling more tea for less, and he was putting it inside of a cool can, and the product would sell itself, and he was absolutely right. Okay, fast forward to 2008, Arizona Tea is huge. They have their own factory, everything's paid off, they're making a ton of money, they're the #1 ready-to-drink tea brand in the country. At this point, the company is worth over $1 billion, and John Farolito, who over the past decade has become more and more of a quiet partner as Don just kind of took everything over and John just got to, you know, reap the rewards, he comes out and he's like, hey, we could literally sell this company and make billions of dollars and just be retired billionaires that wake up and do whatever the fuck we want all day, every day. We should sell the company. To which Don was like, no, absolutely not. I'm not selling this company because if I sell this company, what are my sons gonna do? Both his sons were his top level executives with him, literally his right and left hand man, and he knew that if he sold out, he wasn't gonna get to hang out with his sons because every single day, Don Voltaggio has a 2-hour family style lunch with both of his sons and his wife inside of his big ass office in his factory. Okay, just so we're all on the same page, Don Voltaggio could have cashed out and been a billionaire with a fucking B and said, nah, I'd rather hang out with my kids. Go fuck yourself. That is the most gangster thing I think I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, imagine how his sons feel about him after that. You know what I mean? Like, imagine going to work with your brother and your dad all day, every day, knowing that the only reason that you're there right now was because your dad got offered to be a billionaire. Like, basically a king or an emperor of capitalism in America, essentially. Like, your dad could have just been like the guy doing whatever he wanted for the rest of his life. But no, he decided he was going to have your back instead, and now you get this awesome job with your family. Like, it's
his sons are actually pretty good looking.
Degree that I didn't even know existed. So this obviously leads to a little bit of a falling out between Don and John. John obviously wants to sell. He wants to take his money and run, which kind of understandable. So he's like, you know what? Fine. Don, you keep your half of the company. I'm going to take my half and I'm going to go sell it to some investment firm or something, and I'm going to get my money and I'm going to retire. To which John Voltaggio is like, no, you're not. Absolutely not. You are not about to sell half of my company to some investment firm that's going to want to take it public, and then an army of MBAs is going to march in here and try to tell me how to run my business that I built from the ground up when none of them have accomplished anything at all. Okay, I'm worried about taking care of my employees and my family and putting a lot of tea in pretty cans, and these MBAs are going to march in here and they're going to be worried about one thing, and that's getting a return on their investment, which is a fancy way of saying they're trying to make money for doing fucking nothing. So Don and John go to court and battle it out for the next 8 years. They reach a confidential agreement outside of court. Nobody knows what it was. Nobody knows the terms. Nobody really knows what happened. All we know is that John got paid out $1 billion, and now Don Voltaggio owns 100% of Arizona Tea as of 2015. So clearly, they just paid out $1 billion. It's been 23 years. They have to raise the price of the tea, right? Absolutely not. Don is 100% against it, and he's going to do anything and everything he can to not raise the price of the 99-cent can. What on earth could his reasoning possibly be? You know, I'm just going to let him tell you.
Why not increase the price and therefore increase the profit?
We're successful. We're debt-free. We own everything. Why have people who are having a hard time paying their rent have to pay more for our drink? Maybe it's my little way to give back.
This dude's just a complete gangster. I don't know what else to tell you. That dude literally has...
Oh my god. Capitalism when it's not being predatory? Who the hell is this? What? Oh my god. How? How is this possible?
Woken up every day for the past 3 decades and just told inflation to go fuck it.
And furthermore, he's not an asshole either? I don't think my poor capitalist heart can handle it.
Itself. He's literally the only multi-billion-dollar CEO that came out and was like, you know what? I'll just make less money. That is completely unprecedented, okay? Like, I love capitalism. I think it is the greatest system that humans have ever come up with. That being said, it's got a ton of shortcomings, and it would be so much better if everybody acted like that. Buh! This is all a complete lie because last time I saw one at the gas station, it was over $1. Buh! Yeah, that does happen. That's actually the local store that you're at, marking the price up higher than MSRP. Arizona Tea still sells their product below $1 and recommends that they sell it for 99 cents. If other companies raise it more than that, Arizona can't really do anything about it. So yeah, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'm trying to tell you that your local convenience store is scalping tea. It's the world we live in. So other than Don simply being willing to just make less money, buy a smaller yacht, if you will, what else is Arizona Tea doing to cut costs to maintain this price point? Over time, they've done quite a few different things, one of which is they actually changed from selling 23-ounce cans to 22-ounce cans. And the reason they did that wasn't by selling, you know, 1 less ounce of tea is going to save us all this money. They didn't really give a shit about the tea itself. What they did was they went to the can manufacturer and said, hey, we want you to make our cans thinner and use 40% less aluminum so that we save a bunch of money on the raw material end. So they actually ended up making the can a tiny bit smaller and then making it significantly thinner all the way around and having a different top so that they could save a bunch of money on the can itself. In addition to that, they also figured they could save a bunch of money on fuel by not delivering their tea during the day to all the different stores. All their trucks run exclusively at night. Okay, just so we're all on the same page, just so we're all hearing what I'm saying. In order for Arizona Tea to maintain their cheap price point for the rest of us, they're also gonna make us suffer by reducing the amount of traffic. This might be my favorite company on the planet. They need to add that to the marketing, honestly. Big cans, pretty, there's less fucking traffic, okay? It's a trifecta. Okay, do you understand how crazy that is? Like, before, they were just saving you money. But now, in order to keep saving you money, they're also being forced to save you time, okay? It violates the laws of physics somehow. It has to.
Damn, Neil deGrasse Tyson! How are you doing that?
It's physics, Terry. It's physics.
This is my new favorite company, okay? I don't even drink Arizona Tea. I'm starting
I love you, Neil deGrasse Tyson. And Terry Crews.
Okay, that's it. That's all I got. I thought for sure Arizona Tea was going to be up to something like every other company I look into, but no, they're not up to anything nefarious. They're not secretly being funded by the government. It's just Don Voltaggio, the owner, woke up every day for 30 years and decided to be a fucking badass. When they told him his 1-gallon jug of tea idea was dumb and it wasn't going to work, he said, cool, I'm going to go ahead and sell it anyways, and it worked. He believed in himself. When his wife designed this awesome can and they said nobody's going to buy it because it's girly, he said, cool, I'm going to sell it anyways. He believed in his wife and he was a good husband. When it came time to sell out, retire, and be a billionaire, he said, but then I'm not going to get to hang out with my sons. He had his kids back. He was a good dad. And when the time came to raise prices because everybody else...
Well, that's always good. You need to... It's important to just keep at drawing. I may start trying to draw on stream again if I can get my tablet to work. It's old. But, you know, I should probably do that. The only real kind of banner I could really afford is a free kind. So, you know, might as well try. Yeah, most of the drawing I haven't drawn actually in a while. Most of the drawing I did is like pen and paper. But yeah.
Else was doing it. He said, nah, I don't need to make more money. I'll just make less. He was a good person. And despite all of that, despite the fact that he did everything wrong and he put money last as the business owner and the guy running the show, he still ended up being a billionaire worth over $6 billion. And more importantly, he gets to have lunch with both of his boys every single day, which is something I don't think any other billionaire can say, and in a lot of ways that probably makes him the richest man on earth. So in my opinion, that's the key to Arizona T's success. Don't chase the money, chase the goal.
Oh yes, sure, I'd love to see. I mean, I probably won't show it on stream, but I'd be happy to look at your art. Person. But yeah. Oh man, this guy is running capitalism like, you know, it's supposed to be run according to the original ideas of capitalism, where you're not just some selfish asshole scalping your own employees and grinding them to dust for your own profit, but trying to make sure that you and other people prosper. Also, once again, what the fuck is up with this face that I stopped on? Look at it. Look at it! Look at it! Look.
Money will come after, even if the goal is something as simple as putting a lot of tea in a big can and making it pretty. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch.
Wait, what did I just do?
FatElectrician.com. Quack bang.
Sorry.
Out. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go play with some big cans of my own. Hannah! What are you doing?
I think he also covers Snapple. Let's see. 1 second. Oh my God, person, I am morally offended by it. Oh, it's horrible. Oh, Jesus. Okay, no. But no, it's pretty good. The hair is actually really nice. The hair and the eyebrows were done really well. The lips were actually also done pretty good. So wait, this is a digital, so you took a picture of a digital drawing. Why didn't you just use the cropping tool to, you know, save it and then post it that way? But yeah, it's not bad. Alright, well, okay. Alright, well, fine. I don't know if I have time for Costco. Let's see. Oh. I didn't realize the fat files was something different. Oh, yeah. There's other stuff I'll cover eventually, like, oh, did you know that modern art was, like, basically created by the CIA? Or that in America, stealing is taxable? Man, I've really not seen a lot of these. Oh, sorry about that. But yes, stealing is taxable in the United States. But yeah, this is the Fat Files, which is different from, you know, his normal channels, which are they altered? I'm gonna still call it the Fat Electrician because, you know, people know his main channel more. But yeah. So, which one of them did you think was more interesting of the videos we watched in person? Ah, yes. Well, to be fair, I think out of all the ones I showed you, Starbucks is the only thing you can actually get. Like in the UK, that was on which was of the videos I watched. Not sure what I should play next, because, well, there is. Well, I technically have. I guess about 20 minutes left. You know, with all the things I add, it can be. You haven't seen one. Person, do you live in under a rock? Person, I think it's time you touch some grass. Going into your lawn doesn't count either. You have to go farther. I mean, even I've seen the Starbucks, and I'm basically I perpetually live in my room, basically. I have a job, but I'm basically a NEET for most of the time, or like, you know. Because, you know, it's actually helps you. It helps your mental state. Also, you know, if you don't socialize enough, you just get worse at not socializing. Which then you just become more awkward. And when you're younger, it's fine to, you know, maybe sort of awkward. But, you know, once you get to the age of where you're over 20 and you're awkward, socially awkward, you're basically screwed. Because you then become the age where people are just like, ew. No. But, you know, it's just... Sometimes just because something feels comfortable doesn't mean that it's good for you. Like, as I was saying, the, you know, not talking to people, staying inside, and just being a loner all day. That feels great. Well, you know, until, you know, one day you're just sort of sitting around and you realize that, man, I don't really know anyone. I only just talk to random people online. Well, in my case, I didn't talk to anyone, period. And then you just feel soul-crushingly lonely. Oh, okay. Well, then I guess if there isn't one near you, then you can't really help that. In which case, you're in the safe. You're safe from the infection. The disease has not yet spread to where you are. I guess I can try watching one more video. And I'll watch the Costco one. It's funny because I thought he did a Snapple video. Oh well. So the most gangster grocery store on earth, Costco. Ooh. Also just going to add this to the little video. I'll be right back. Ooh. I can't add any more tags. Okay, now I'm just going to... Oh my. I also have a Discord message. I shall check that in a bit. 1 second. No. Okay. There we go. I'm just going to check my message here. Ah, person sent the actual thing. Well, it's sort of interesting because in your picture it adds the first one. The red is more clear, or maybe that was just a glare. But here it's just in black and white. Still looks good, but yeah. Either way, time to go back to this. So now we're going into Costco, the most gangster store on earth. And once again, I am great at stopping. What the hell? Okay.
Yes, Costco, the only grocery store on the planet that makes almost no money from selling groceries, yet is somehow one of the most profitable grocery stores on the planet through nothing other than psychological tricks and magic.
Yeah.
Today we're talking about Costco. We all know what Costco is because the members of Costco never shut up about Costco. They're just out there in the world roaming around, non-ironically wearing clothing from Costco's in-house brand, Kirkland, desperately waiting for anybody to ask them what Kirkland is so that they can inform and educate, preach the gospel to these non-believers that Kirkland is actually manufactured by name brand manufacturers and the products are cheaper and better than any other name brand product. And if that's not what they're up to, they're out there flashing their Costco membership card, trying to use it to get laid, and it's working a shocking amount of the time, apparently. And there's a good reason for that. Costco is selling all of its products at a net zero, meaning they don't make any money when they sell you something. In fact, some of their items they even sell at a net loss, meaning the more they sell, the more money they lose. Yet somehow they still manage to pay all their employees well above their competitors and have a net profit of over $6 billion a year. And I'm going to explain how that's even possible right after a word from our sponsor. This video is brought to you by Rocket Money, your all-in-one finance app that's going to help you cancel subscriptions, lower your monthly bills, and overall manage your money better. Rocket Money covers pretty much everything. They will let you monitor your credit score. They help you manage your budget by letting you see all of your expenses. In 1954, with a man by the name of Saul Price, who convinces his mother-in-law to buy a warehouse as an investment property. However, mother-in-law wasn't a commercial real estate mogul and had no idea what to do with this warehouse, so Saul Price is like, you know what, fine, I'll rent the warehouse from you and I'll put a business inside of it. Don't know what it's going to be yet, but I'll figure it out. He then stumbles across a brilliant business known as Fedco, which is essentially a large in-bulk grocery store that offers very, very cheap groceries to its members, and the only way that you could be a member of Fedco was to work for the federal government. So Saul Price approaches Fedco and is like, hey, you guys have a great business model. I've got a big empty warehouse. Let's partner together. We'll make this a Fedco also. It'll be great. Fedco is like, nah, we're good. At which point Saul Price is like, okay, that's fine. Well, I'm just going to steal your business model because you can't patent selling groceries at a discount to members, so I'm going to open up my own equivalent of your store called FedMart. The only difference is instead of selling groceries cheap to members, I'm going to sell groceries really, really cheap to members. Like, I'm almost not going to make money off of selling groceries, and I'm going to charge them a $2 membership fee. Okay, and this business model seems kind of weird, but it's actually genius. Okay, Leonardo da Vinci once said that simplicity is the ultimate form of sophistication, and that's what's going on with this business model. If you don't know, grocery stores are probably one of, if not the most competitive retail environments on the planet. The profit margins on food in grocery stores is so razor thin, it's crazy. And what FedMart has done with this business model is essentially said, I'm not going to compete in this highly competitive environment. I'm going to sell my groceries at net zero. I'm not going to make money. I'm just going to break even on everything I sell, and I'm going to make all my money off of charging a monthly subscription fee of $2 to let everybody shop at my grocery store where my stuff is the cheapest because I'm not making any money off of it. I have no profit margin there. So if the customers shop here enough, they're going to save enough money to offset their membership fee, saving money overall. I'm going to make money, and it's a win-win for everybody. In its first year of business, FedMart does 4 times its projected amount of profit, and they end up opening a bunch of more stores within a couple of more years all across the United States. Within 5 years, by 1959, FedMart goes public and continues to be outrageously successful. Fast forward to 1975, a German conglomerate company buys up the majority of the stocks in the stock market, and they assume control of FedMart. Now, these German investors assume control of the company, and naturally, they're like, wow, what a brilliant business strategy. It's so simple, it's physically painful. All I have to do is change nothing and rake in money. But you know, it'd be cooler if we re-German engineered the entire thing. I bet we could get 3% better performance if we made this like 1,000 times more complicated. So that's what they did.
German engineering.
They German engineered the company, and by 1983, completely out of business and shut down.
Oh,
So
God.
Sol Price is like, I made a ton of money going public with my business. They ruined it. It's closed down. There's no other company like mine. I'm going to start the exact same company all over again. So he buys an empty aircraft hangar and starts Price Mart with the same exact business model.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Now, around the same exact time, Sol Price's old protege from FedMart, a guy by the name of Jim Senegal, ended up opening up his own business with his business partner, a lawyer by the name of Jeff Brotman. And that business was Costco, that also had the exact same business model. So Costco and Price Mart end up being competitors for a little while, and then they eventually end up merging together and they form Price Costco, and then it just becomes Costco, and this is what we have today. And modern day Costco really hasn't changed their business model. They still run a net zero on almost all of their products, and they make 92% of all of their money off of membership fees. So if Costco wants to make more money, they have to A, maintain the members they have, and B, get more members. So how do you do that? You be competitive. You have the best prices, which, check, Costco already does because they run everything at a net zero. They're not making money. You can't get better prices than what Costco already has. So what else can they do to improve their business? They have to make shopping there fun, and that's exactly what they do. Okay, and this is where the psychological warfare and magic comes into play, all right? Because the second you walk up to a Costco, you have to pull out your membership card, and on the back side of those Costco membership cards, it's literally a photo ID. Like, you're not getting into this exclusive club unless you are a member.
Never cross the rope. No, but my friends are on the inside.
Lose them.
Hey, watch it, I'm a bleeder.
Okay, so right out of the gate, you already feel exclusive. You feel like a boss walking up to the bouncer at a nightclub, and he just opens up the velvet ropes for you and waves you in because you're a member. And the psychological warfare just keeps going from there, right? Because the first aisle that you walk into...
I still haven't seen that movie, but I know but why male models?
By design is the expensive electronics aisle, okay? You sitting there, you're looking at like, shit, do I need a $4,000 TV? I probably shouldn't. Okay, I'm not gonna get the TV. And then you go about your shopping and you think you did a good job, right? They did that shit on purpose because now you think to yourself, oh wow, I just saved $4,000 because I didn't buy a TV the size of my garage door. So now you're like 10 times more likely to impulse buy something else for yourself because you feel like you just saved $4,000. So all of a sudden, that $80 purchase that you're going to splurge on doesn't feel like a big deal, and that is what makes the shopping fun. Within 3 minutes of stepping foot inside of Costco, they've already made you feel like an exclusive member of their club, and they have convinced you that this is no longer a shopping trip. This is a trip where you get to treat yourself.
3 words for you. Treat yourself.
And now they're about to turn the entire shopping trip into an adventure because Costco uses what they call the treasure hunt strategy, which basically means Costco is constantly moving around all of their items to different locations. So no matter how many times you go to Costco, you never know where you're going. Okay, you're on a constant hunt for the milk, the eggs, the bread, and then you're running across like LED high-speed internet toasters for $80, and you're like, holy shit, I need that. And while that's going on, you've got an army of old women constantly trying to give you samples of food.
This is not pudding.
And while that's going on, there's no lull in the action. There's never a delay in the adventure that you're having because Costco doesn't have very many items, okay? Costco, on average, has about 3,700 different items available in one of their stores compared to, like, Walmart that has over 50,000. Okay, this means there's no choices to be made, right? A normal grocery store has an entire aisle of 700 different types of salad dressing. You know what Costco has?
At least in America.
A fucking pyramid of ranch. It looks like you're getting the ranch, huh? Keep the adventure moving. But I like having a lot of options. No, you don't. I know you think you like options, but you don't. People's actions say otherwise. Almost nobody appreciates having options. Watch this, I'll prove it to you. I'm gonna call my wife and I'm gonna very tactfully give her 0 options about where we're gonna go to lunch today. And then I'm gonna call her tomorrow and I'll edit it in and I'm gonna give her all the options in the world and we're gonna see which one she actually prefers.
But she's a woman. That's normal. A lot of my followers are women, and I've just insulted all of them. Oh no, I'm going to be canceled.
Hello.
Hey, guess where I'm taking you for lunch?
Where?
Mexican restaurant.
Ooh, okay. I'll be ready in 15 minutes.
All right, love you.
Love you, bye.
See you in 24 hours. Hey, I'm hungry. Where do you want to go for lunch?
I don't know.
You want Chinese?
No.
Mexican?
No.
Burgers?
No.
Italian?
Yeah, no.
All right. You figure out where you want to go and then let me know, okay? All right, love you. Fucking science. Moral of the story, whether people know...
Ah, yes, science. Will you produce your studies? Woman unable to figure out where to go to lunch. This is an amazing scientific discovery. Oh my god. Books will be written on this subject. I mean, it just... To be fair, it's not only women too. I've had male friends who do that, but there is that is a sort of a part of the stereotype.
Or not, they actually hate having too many options because it makes you think, and when you have to stop and think, you have to...
Thinking hurts. Oh.
Stop, which breaks up the action, right? If you're having sex with somebody, you don't want them right in the middle of it to be like, hey, did you lock the front door? Like, I don't give a shit. Unless there's a velociraptor that kicks down that door, I'm in the middle of something right now, okay? Let's keep doing this. And this is true for like almost everything, right? You think Ice Cube would be one of the greatest rappers of all time if right in the middle of his song, Today Was a Good Day, he stopped and gave you a fucking pop quiz on geography? No, just enjoy the song and listen to it and you're happy. So when you're shopping at Costco, this is an adventure. This is a treasure hunt and there's no thinking and there's no breaks in the action ever. You're having a blast. And if that wasn't enough, the aesthetic of the overall store is absolutely incredible. Remember going to a normal grocery store when you were a kid and your mom couldn't find something and she goes up to the employee and is like, do you have this? And they're like, no, we don't have it on the shelf. And your mom goes, she says the magic words, oh, can you go check in the back? And you're like, the fuck is, what's in the back? What's going on back there? Guess what? Costco, you're in the back, okay? I'm 99% sure that we're living in a simulation and Costco is the spawn point for all of the stuff. I mean, it's gotta be, right? Costco's got like food and clothes and electronics, you know, the common loot, but they've also got the rare shit that you can go find. So when Mrs. Fat Electrician gets sidetracked smelling 15 different types of candles, I'm going on a side quest to find something cool. What am I looking for? I have no idea. I'll know when I find it, okay? Costco's the only grocery store on the planet that you can just wander off and end up finding a signed jersey from Magic Johnson in 2024 when he retired in 1996, okay? You're just looking at it like, what is happening right now? And then you look over and you're like, oh, there's a ring that costs $340,000. And you're just looking at it in your hand like, this literally costs more than the house that I live in. I'm fucking stealing this. And you're like, no, I can't. You put it back, and now you feel like a good person, and Costco is boosting your self-esteem. So you get done shopping, and then you realize you're hungry. You have developed an appetite from adventuring for the past 2 hours, and holy shit, Costco has a food court. So you go over to the food court, and you're like, you know what? I haven't had a hot dog in 15 years. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna order a hot dog and a soda. They ring you up at the cash register. It's $1.50 for a hot dog and a soda, okay? And just to be clear, this isn't like one of the normal little bullshit hot dogs that you like give to the kids at the barbecue while the adults are eating steaks and burgers. No, this is the fucking hot dog that she tells you not to worry about, okay? This is a fucking, you went to a baseball game and got one of those big ass novelty hot dogs, size hot dogs, and that plus a soda with free refills was $1.50. So then, because you're a good person, because you didn't steal that ring, you politely inform the cashier, I think you messed up and accidentally gave me the hot dog for free and that's just the tax. And she's like, no, it's $1.50. We haven't raised the price on the hot dog combo since 1984 when we came out with it because of the principles of the matter. Do you understand how crazy that is? 1984 was 40 years ago, okay? We've had more inflation than that house from the movie Up since then, and they've refused to raise the price, okay? Dollar Tree is
before I was aboard.
Now $1.25 tree, and this hot dog is still $1.50. So then you go home full and happy, but still fascinated by this $1.50 hot dog. So you decide to look into it. How is it possible?
The $1.50 hot dog, and according to the auto-generated captions, it's a $150 hot dog, which is a considerably worse deal.
Was that actually meat inside that hot dog? What is going on here? And then you Google it and you hear the famous Costco hot dog story, okay? Apparently, the higher-ups at Costco came to the owner, Jeff Sinegal, at this point in time, Saul Price's protege, and they're like, we got to sell this hot dog for more than $1.50. At which point, Jeff said, and I quote, if you raise the effing hot dog, I will kill you. figure it out.
Whatever you're thinking, you better think again. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to head down there, and I will rain down on a godly fucking firestorm upon you. I am talking scorched earth, motherfucker. I will massacre you. I will fuck you up.
So that's what Costco did. They figured it out in what is probably the most gangster way possible, right? They didn't want to sacrifice the quality of the hot dogs and have just horrible hot dogs. So they're like, you know what? The only thing we can do is to build our own hot dog manufacturing facility, and one of them's not going to be enough. We're going to build two of them, one in LA and one in Chicago, and then we can control the price of hot dogs. And this figure it out attitude doesn't just stop at the hot dogs. When Costco wants something done, they get it done, okay? Here's another example. They wanted to build a new Costco in LA. And here's the problem with that. Getting anything done in the state of California, especially a major city like LA, is an absolute nightmare. California is not rated very well as far as being business friendly goes, and it just takes forever to get anything done, right? You want to put up a new building, you got to have environmental impact studies, all this other bullshit.
Oh, yes, California.
It's just a complete nightmare, and it's going to take 20 years for them to put up a 300,000 square foot warehouse. But they had a new rule that due to the housing crisis, they would expedite immediately any projects that had affordable housing. So Costco is in the process of building a Costco in the middle of LA that has fucking apartments on top of it, just so they can start slinging $1.50 hot dogs. In conclusion, Costco is the most gangster grocery store on the planet. Their slogans are, do the right thing, and more is more, and that about covers it. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over at thefatelectrician.com, and from now until August 30th, every single item purchased out of my merch store, whether it's a sticker or a hoodie or a shirt or a beer koozie, is going to get you one entry to win a custom Steelhead Outdoors Fat Electrician gun cabinet. And second place is going to get a custom Steelhead Outdoors Fat Electrician pistol box. And third place is going to get a big care package from Wiley X, my favorite glasses company. So yeah, go buy some merch. Thank you for watching. Quack Bang out.
Oh my god, I actually finished the video. Mainly because I shut up a bit, but yeah. Oh yes. Oh, and by the way, person, that picture you sent me, was that like a picture you drew of yourself, or was that just something that you just drew or improvised? My lips are not well, my lips are moving now. Oh my god, what's up with my neck? Oh god. Okay. Yeah. It's a Chad? What? Alright. Okay, that's... Chad, what? Don't? What? I mean, I wasn't going to comment on it, but you know, I'm going to let you in on a bit of a secret. When you, also I'm going to reset my position so that I don't look like I'm weirdly leaning forward, because I just moved my chair forward a bit. When you say stuff like that and point to your mistakes when I'm not bringing it up, it's basically like, okay, now this is a target worth making fun of. Because, you know, it's always fun to poke fun at somebody when they're reacting to you. It's just like, haha, yes, YouTube. And then, you know, on the other hand, if I were to go like, ha ha ha, you did this, and then you're like, I just made a mistake, whatever. Then I just sort of like, that kills any momentum. When you try to mess with somebody or make fun of somebody and they just don't, you know, react, that immediately stops it and just makes it awkward. What about Chad? It happens. Ah, yes, double emote. I have no idea what that emote means. The little... The greater than... The greater than one. Whatever. I don't know. Either way, I have to finish getting ready for work. Oh, well, I mean... 1 second. 1 second. I mean... Oh, it looks like a fish. Oh, so it means a fish. Okay. I was thinking about, like, this one here. Like that. But either way, I actually have to go now. I don't know if I'm going to stream later. I'm celebrating my father's birthday and we're going to a restaurant. Ah, yes. And you screwed up twice. Indeed. Skill issue. Okay, but yeah. I don't know if I'm streaming later today. I might stream after work, or I may just skip streaming today. Or, like, for this evening. Either way. I really need to stop and stream and finish getting ready for work, and then I'll probably talk to you later. Alright. Bye-bye.